Good tea. Nice house.
Hello and welcome. I'm Anti-Derivative Jill, and this is Plomeek Teatime number 15. Joining me today is Scotty R27 from the Fantastic Aliens, but since I set the show to start 10 minutes from now, he stepped away for a bit, so he'll be back in a bit. And today, we're going to be discussing the infamous Voyager episode Tuvix, and after that, other transporter actions and gadgets that we'd like to discuss. And so today we'll be talking about that. And hello in the chat to Pleasant Valley Picker. And he says, hello, Add Fraser and Jill. And that's a reference to how some people sometimes change my name into other names, like Alternative Jill, or also there's Antediluvian Jill, Integral Jill, which is what Bird of Prey 5 will call me sometimes. And so that's just a little thing that happens sometimes. And I don't mind that. And he also says that there are 3 waiting. There should be 30,000. Well, I don't know about that, but thank you. So I had a little bit of a technical difficulty with my mic. It wasn't working, but now it seems to be working just fine. So we'll be able to have our show today. And also, it looks like Pleasant Valley Picker will be joining the show also, so that'll be fun. And oh yeah, there he is. Hello. Hey, welcome to the stream.
Am I there?
Yeah.
Hi, Jill. Sorry, I was just getting a cold drink in the kitchen, so I'm a minute late, I guess. But I figured, hey, since you're having technical difficulties, it wouldn't hurt to be a few minutes late. So.
Yeah, I was, but I figured him out, and I decided to start a little bit earlier than 12:30.
So what happened? What happened
to
your laptop? What died?
I don't know. It just didn't recognize the microphone anymore.
Oh, geez. Did you have a USB or?
Yeah, it's a USB.
Yeah, I know when that happens to me, I just usually unplug it and plug it back in, and
That
for
didn't
some
work.
reason it seems to reset.
That doesn't help. No, I even restarted the whole machine. That doesn't help either.
So how did you figure it out then?
I just it's kind of a hokey solution, but it always seems to work. I just did a system restore to a previous
to a previous version.
It just seems to be crapping out a whole bunch lately, so I don't know. I think there must be a hardware issue or something going on.
You know, Jill, my suggestion would be to consider getting a new laptop soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm considering. Definitely,
we should do a crowdfunding for Jill to get her a new PC.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I need a new computer. Give money, please.
Yeah, let's start up a GoFundMe page for Jill.
No, please, no, don't do that.
I'm just having fun, Jill.
Okay, good.
Oh no!
Sorry, I just couldn't resist. Ooh, what's that music?
It's from Archer.
That's my ringtone.
Oh, geez, Archer. Mm-hmm. So you think Archer is based on Man from U.N.C.L.E., Jill?
Oh yeah, I just saw the first episode of Man from U.N.C.L.E.
That was great fun, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. I know you wanted me to see more episodes to get a bigger gist of what the show's about, but I don't mind seeing just one at a time.
Yeah. Well, I will be talking to my boss next week and to see if I can get off an hour earlier, so maybe we can watch 2 a week.
Yeah.
If that would be okay.
That'll be cool. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah, because I'm thinking there's like 105 episodes of U.N.C.L.E., right? Mm-hmm. So we watch one, so that means there's 104 left. Now divide that by 2, that's 52 weeks to watch the entire series, right?
Yeah.
So that would be great. In 1 year, we could have the whole thing done. I mean, I was going to say, if you want to go ahead and watch some on your own, that's fine too. But it's kind of fun to watch them together because I kind of like to see a new person reacting to them as they see them.
No, I'll probably only watch it during when we watch together because I don't think
Okay.
I'm going to want to watch it. I tend to procrastinate with watching things, especially new things that
Yeah, I
and
know
I'm
the
trying to
feeling.
watch more movies, trying to learn more things because
Don't
there's a
feel
lot of
bad.
holes in my pop culture knowledge that I'd like to fill.
Don't feel bad. I'm considerably older than you, Jill. I would think, even though
Mhm.
I don't know how old you actually are, but I still have a watch list that is considerable. Uh, and so, yeah, don't feel bad.
And you said you watched a video today about Canadian inventions?
Yes, I did. And you know, the one thing that struck me, that there was 10 inventions. You know, the one I really thought that stood out?
Which is that?
Canadians invented the egg carton.
The egg carton. So
Did
the
we?
cardboard.
Yeah. So anytime you're having breakfast and your eggs arrive safely to your home, thank a Canadian, because yeah, apparently was a Canadian. I think it was in 1901. I guess he got tired of broken eggs arriving to their destination, and the people that paid for them were PO'd at the farmers, and the farmers are like, well, it's not our fault. We can't drive the trucks. If they get broken. So this fellow, I didn't jot his name down, but you could look it up. Yeah, look up egg carton, and I'm sure it's on Wikipedia. But yeah, I think it was like
Sure.
1901 the egg carton got invented. So
Great.
I mean, that's just a silly little bit of knowledge, I know, but
Well, it's something new I learned today.
hey,
I
I mean,
like
just
learning
think
new
how
things.
important that is when you go to the grocery store every week and you buy your eggs.
Mhm.
I mean, otherwise there'd be what? You'd have to, there'd be loose eggs in a bag or something. That would be, that would be risky.
And hello in the chat to Aravic Sunder. Great to see you.
Ahoy, Aravic.
Anyway, I've motor mouthed badly. Sorry, Jill. What's our topic
No,
today?
I asked you about it and you answered.
I am a motor mouth, though, I must admit. I am a shameless motor mouth.
That is fine.
Anyway, what's the topic for today? Tuvix?
Yes, today we're talking about Tuvix.
Okay.
And other transporter accidents.
Other transporter accidents and magic.
And magic, yes.
And I had a technical issue. I figured that out. And Mega Cropper is here. Hey, Mega Cropper.
Hey, Mega Cropper.
Mega Cropper.
He says, good chance to get rid of 2 problematic characters, so a yes from me. Oh, nice. I got a yes answer in the poll. So now I know who that one person is.
So Tuvix should have lived.
Who answered yes? According to Mega Cropper, yes. Pleasant Valley Picker says, yeah, right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, those are all
Get a new laptop.
really old
Okay.
old chat things.
No, I'm gonna hang up to that.
Well, by the way, before we start talking about our main subject being Tuvix, I just wanted to
Sure.
mention we had a great loss yesterday. You probably didn't feel it in the U.S. As we felt it in Canada, but Queen Elizabeth II passed away at the age of I think it was 76.
96.
Or 96. I mean, yeah, sorry, my brain. But yeah, she didn't quite make it to 100 as as the Queen Mum did, but she got there pretty close, and apparently she passed away, I guess, peacefully with her family around her. So I guess it was a good death. But as a Canadian, I got to say we are kind of shook up, as she has been the Queen probably for all of my life and probably all of Scotty's life, definitely. And
Oh, for sure.
it will be strange not having her there and not having the Queen's, every Christmas she would come on and do her little 5 or 10 minute speech about the past year and, tell us about all the things that were bad and all the things that were good and kind of encourage us to, soldier on no matter what. And she was always kind of a little anchor in our lives. So I must admit, I'm feeling a bit sad today.
Yes, I'm sorry for your loss and all of England's loss and Canada and everybody. And
Yeah,
if
it'll be
anybody,
the entire Commonwealth, Australia, I mean, all the Commonwealth countries. There's a lot of them, and yeah, I mean, I'm not a monarchist.
Monarchist.
monarchist. My my speech today. But yeah, it's like I'm not a monarchist by any means, but I always respected the queen because, she didn't have a choice, right? When her father died, she had to take on, obviously take on the duties, and I thought she always performed them with, dignity and grace and intelligence, and I thought she was a good queen, and I mean, she was the longest serving monarch, I believe, in the world ever, at least in modern times, and yeah, and I actually got to see her back in the 70s. She actually came to my hometown back when she used to tour around the world. And yeah, in the 70s, I actually got to actually see a glimpse of her in my hometown, which, is, quite amazing when I think about it. Anyway, I will be quiet now.
Sure, that's great. And if anybody in the chat wants to share how they feel mourning or their loss, please feel free to do so, and that'll be fine.
Well, and much like Star Trek, we're in a world now where the monarchy has a new showrunner. So let's hope it doesn't turn into the filth.
Yeah, it's King Charles III now, I believe it was, they said.
Which makes me really happy because Charles Tucker III, the engineer on Enterprise, so I'm going to call him King Trip.
Sure, why not? Good one.
That's fair. Yeah, that was pretty funny when
that was a good one.
So yeah, but the Queen is dead. Long live the King.
Yeah, well, you know what this is going to do, though, Scotty. Just think of all the changes that are going to occur in Canada now.
Well, and I'm curious if they're actually going to swap out the currency now. Is it going to be?
Well, they're going to have to. They'll have
Charles?
to. It'll have to be Charles on our dollars, and not just that, but think of all the documents. Like I was reading, the news yesterday, and it's like all the official documents are going to have to be changed from Her Majesty to His Majesty. From the Queen to the King. So it's going to probably cost millions of dollars for all those official documents to be changed over, and it's going to take a while.
Millions.
Well, yeah. And it's also, it probably, if I like to anticipate the positives of everything, but there's always been sort of a question in terms of Canada's ties to the monarchy, and it may bring up that debate as to whether or not those ties are necessary in a modern era. I don't know how many traditionalists there are. As you said, I'm not much of a monarchist myself, but it has been sort of a comfortable cornerstone in Canadian life. But I know that there are people who find it redundant. So there could be some major changes happening for even just the way our country works.
Yeah, it's interesting. I know we got our Constitution repatriated, what was it, 1981 or whatever, when the Queen and Trudeau signed the documents that basically gave us our own, Constitution
Sovereignty.
Or whatever, because it was residing in England previously, I believe. But yeah, I know there's always going to be controversy about the monarchy. As I said, I'm not a monarchist, but I do think it is kind of a cornerstone of our culture. Even if we don't think about it often, it's always there. Yeah, I'm sure the debate will continue, but I don't see the monarchy going away anytime soon. And as long as we're a member of the Commonwealth, I think it's going to be, even if a small, factor in our lives, I think it will still remain.
We will live to see.
But it'll be interesting to see what Charles does. I think Charles in his heart is a good man, and I think he can be a good king, and hopefully he will be. And I don't see Charles being there for a lot of years, because he is quite elderly himself, right? How is Charles? He's got to be like around 70 or something now.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see Charles maybe serving for 10 years or something, and then handing it over to the next in line. So,
all right.
Anyway, Jill's probably bored to death by now.
Well, I know that there are a lot of Americans who care about this too.
There actually are Americans who really love the monarchy.
Yes,
I think some of you Americans are actually more fond of them than we are.
That's what I'm thinking. And if anybody would like to share anything about it in the chat, I'm fine with it. And hello, good morning to Stephen Ransom in the chat.
Hey, Stephen Ransom, how are you, bud?
Yeah.
Hey, Stephen.
Mega Cropper says Voyager needs a reboot. When we've crushed the
New world order.
Yeah. yes. Once Secret Hideout and Bad Robot give up on Star Trek, then yeah, Voyager. I don't know if I want a Voyager reboot. Actually, I just want to continue after Nemesis.
Actually, I found the first Voyager quite enough. Actually.
Right?
It's
yeah,
not
they
my favorite
already
series.
made it back home. They're good.
Yeah, well, yeah, that last episode was pretty good. I must say that was kind of fun.
Yeah, Tom and B'Elanna have their baby and everything. Everything's fine.
Happy ending. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Icheb. Poor Icheb.
And poor Tuvix.
Icheb is fine.
Icheb is fine. We don't talk about what happened to Icheb because it didn't happen.
Anyway, are we going to get on to the Tuvix talk? Because that was the title of the stream, and I totally screwed it up. So
yeah,
and
hello. No, that's fine. No, I had a feeling that we would have to talk about that, the passing just a little bit, and I'm okay with that because I do respect her major presence that she had throughout history.
She was our monarch for 70 years or whatever, so it's like pretty big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Longest serving queen in history, I believe.
Yeah, and hello in the chat to Captain Time Lord, and also to Gorilla's Random Thoughts. And,
hey, Gorilla.
yeah, I had put a half-hour delay. I started 10 minutes early, but I wanted to make sure I got the show started.
Well, you usually come on at 9 a.m. Pacific time, right?
I do, but this morning I was feeling more like noon.
That's the feeling I have most days when I have to get up for work.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I wish I could get up at noon.
And Captain Time Lord asks a pertinent question to today's topic. How is a transporter not a suicide booth? Consciousness cannot be duplicated, he claims.
That's an interesting point, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The last time someone brought this up, I responded rather passionately. So this time I'll try to be a little bit more clinical with the situation. It transfers matter into energy, directs a beam to a place, and then rematerializes and reconstructs that matter in the exact same way that it was taken apart, if you will. Thusly, duplicating said consciousness, it is not a suicide booth. It is a transporter. It transports you. So that is one of the things when it comes to suspension of disbelief when it comes to the transporter, so that I don't have to believe in energy replicated clones.
And it doesn't just transport, it kind of what's the word? It transmogifies. I'm probably making a word up there, but it basically does duplicate you in your original order, right?
Yes, I tend to agree with Scotty's explanation of the transporter.
Yeah, I think Scotty's explanation was pretty much spot on, actually.
Gorilla says, off them all and sacrifice the virgin for good measure. So he's talking about my question, my poll. So my poll is missing an option. I should have put another answer.
I didn't see the poll.
Neither. Just destroy the abomination.
Is there a poll? I don't see it.
Yeah, because that seems to be exactly what Gorilla wants to do.
Just get rid of them. All three of them.
The poll. Oh, well.
And of course, Gorilla always has the funniest things to say. And there's Captain's talking about Shaft. I don't know what that means.
He's just one bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Shaft was a good movie.
Shaft.
One of the so-called blaxploitation films of the 70s, I believe it was.
Yes.
That was a good movie, though. Shaft was pretty awesome, actually. And that great score, that was by, what was his name?
Isaac Hayes.
Yes, Isaac Hayes. That was a great score. If you haven't heard the theme from Shaft, you got to listen to it, Jill.
Okay. It's a lot easier but it's a lot easier to listen to music. It just happens in the background.
Yeah, it's only like a minute or two long or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's not that long, so.
So, Gorilla's Random Thought says he gave his thoughts in a video last night about the Queen. So he says God save the Queen. And
God save the Queen.
And I did put his link in the chat here. Subscribe to Gorilla's Random Thoughts. He's got 170 subscribers, so he's closing in on that 200 pretty soon.
Climbing on it.
Yeah, I think I must have added a few subs lately too. I just checked yesterday, and I was up to 62 now.
Wow, that's incredible when you have no content.
Yeah, I was like at 54, I think, a month ago. So it must have been some of the people I've been on here doing these live chats that must have said, "Hey, this is, good." And I know, Jill and other people that I've chatted with on their streams have probably, popped my link in the chat window. So, yeah, I think I've gained like, maybe about 8 people or so in the last month. So that's pretty cool.
I think I'm one of them.
Well, thank you, Scotty. If you're one of them, I do appreciate it. Hey, Jill, have you subbed to my channel yet?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Well, there you go. There's one of them right there. I knew there was, folks that, have, joined my channel in the last month. So, oh, by the way, I've started a new playlist. It's I can't remember the exact name, but it's something along the lines of great albums you probably never heard.
Mm-hmm.
And check it out.
Okay.
I just added it. Was it last night or today? I think it was last night when I added it. Yeah, the first album I put on was by a band called The Shoes.
The Shoes. Okay.
The Shoes, and I put their album Present Tense, which was from 1979. They're kind of like a power pop band. Really great guitars, excellent harmonies, from the members in the band. And really, there's 12 songs on the album. They're average around 3 minutes a song, and they're really, really catchy with lots of hooks. So, yeah, if you want to check it out, I'm sure you probably can find it on my channel page.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent album. Check it out.
And Captain Time Lord says, I was broadcasting already when she died, so I got the news from myself. God save the king.
Yeah, that was. I found out about it at work yesterday. I was working away, and one of my co-workers walked in and said, "Did you hear about the news? Elizabeth died." And I was like, "No." I couldn't believe it. It was, because you just think she's going to be there forever, right?
Well, and when it comes to mortality, when we lost Betty White, all bets were off, and now I'm on a daily Shatner watch.
Betty White, yeah, that was so sad. She was like a week away from her 100th, wasn't she?
Something like that.
Oh man, I really hope she'd make it to 100. But hey, Betty had an amazing life, so hey.
She did.
True. So when it comes to Tuvix,
yeah,
let's maybe get to the topic at some point.
Okay, I just want to say hello to Nat G.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and that's it.
See,
okay,
I agree with Stephen Ransom. You were here, now you're there. That's how transporters work.
Transpositioning, Scotty.
That reminds me of that old Queen song. Now I'm here, now I'm there. Remember that song, anybody?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Jill probably hasn't heard it.
And
have you heard that song, Jill?
I don't know, maybe.
That's on their third album, Sheer Heart Attack, which is an awesome album you should check out.
Consciousness, Captain Time Lord says, consciousness is referred to in science literally. The hard problem is not dismissed so easily. And so, for me, okay, now I'm going to bring in our slides. We got some of those.
Oh,
fantastic. This is my favorite part.
Yeah. So it's
cool.
So I've been watching a lot of Deep Space Nine and original series, and it's kind of a head trip to switch from that to Voyager. It's probably the series that I rewatched the least out of all of them. And Voyager at its best is the Odyssey. But most of the time it's Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, Voyager was not my favorite.
Mm-hmm. And so it's something else to start an episode with Janeway being excited about discovering a flower that they might be able to use for food. And it's logical and makes sense, but it's still a bit of a trip to switch premises so greatly. And anyway, we're watching Tuvix, and Voyager has its fair share of controversial episodes, and this is one of them. Janeway sends Tuvix and Neelix down to the planet together to investigate this plant. And
Ugh. What's up with the troll doll?
I gotta
What's he
say,
carrying?
hey, I grew up in the 90s. I had my troll dolls and I loved them. I do not like Neelix.
every
Okay, fair
time I
enough.
see Neelix, I kind of have to laugh and cringe
No, you're right,
simultaneously.
Well, I just recently watched The Island with
Mhm.
Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, and Ethan Phillips is in it without the makeup, and it's just strange to see him because he's still very Tuvixy, or not Tuvix,
Oh
Neelixy.
God, that sounds scary.
You know,
More Tuvokian.
Ethan Phillip is pretty funny in a panel, but
Mhm.
I don't really like his stand up. But
Well, he could be a
but as
great guy.
as
It's just a
discussion.
character I couldn't stand.
Oh yeah, he is. And I wonder why Voyager has such small landing parties. I realize, I guess this planet is not inhabited by creatures or beings, but
I suppose, though, Jill,
just
that's more
two.
logical, isn't it? That I mean, that was always one thing that was kind of a bit silly about TOS. You know, Kirk and Spock would often beam down into a dangerous situation. Like, would they really do that? You know, in a real military structure, you would not send your most important people down to a dangerous situation. I would think.
That's true, but that's done for television
Well, of
purposes because
course,
you want to learn about your
that
main
yeah,
characters.
I agree. That made great TV, and I love it. But
Hmm.
you know, logically, as Spock would say, it doesn't make sense. But actually, it does make sense in Voyager that they would send down a smaller landing party. Just wanted to point it out.
Well, the only thing that this scene does is remind me why I don't really like Neelix very much.
Is it?
Yeah, well, we have many reasons not to like Neelix.
See, and and as you said, Jill, like this is one of those like in the rewatch of the animated series and going through Deep Space Nine, all of these other shows I have rewatched a lot, but with Voyager, I don't even think I've fully cracked it. I think I've only watched about half of the episodes, and so I am looking forward to getting back into Voyager, but I'm just sort of waiting for a reason to do so. So
And you'll have that reason once we get through Deep Space Nine and Enterprise with the Clobbering Time Saturday Night Star Trek.
there you go.
That'll only take about 5 or 6 years, right?
Oh wait, we
Yeah.
only have to get through Deep Space Nine, and then we'll get to Voyager. Enterprise will be the last series.
But I mean, how many episodes of Deep Space Nine is like 176 or something?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to
Yeah.
be doing Deep Space Nine for like the next 2 years.
Well, the whole thing is going to last through, I think, 2024. So we should finish by 2025. So that's about how long we're going to be watching Star Trek with Clobby.
I just hope I'm still alive by then.
Oh, come on. Barring
You'll
some
be here.
horrible
Hey,
transporter
I
accident,
ain't
you'll be
getting any
here.
younger, I just got to say. But I still, for my age, I'm pretty. I think I'm pretty healthy. But man, that's like 15 years away or something. Jeez.
3 by my count, but okay.
Well, you said 2025. Oh yeah. Okay, 3 years. Oh man. I'm looking at my calendar here, and it's totally wonky. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm off today. I'm off my game.
No, you're great.
Sorry, that was my Jay and Silent Bob moment. Anyway.
Stephen Ransom responds to Captain, the only thing hard about the hard problem is science's reluctance to have a spirit of discovery. That's the point I've taken. And hello in the chat to JT Kirk.
Hey,
He's
JT
giving
Kirk.
his thoughts about this episode. He says, lurking as I'm working. My opinion on Tuvix is this. Taking a gamble on transporter magic they don't really understand to get 2 different people back is immoral. The guaranteed killing of Tuvix, of an uncertainty to create the others, is anti-preservation of life and anti-bodily autonomy. So he believes that Tuvix had reason to choose life and to be in charge of his body. That's JT Kirk's position. And hello in the chat to Bird of Prey 5. Kapla.
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 Mm-hmm. And Hello, also. Stephen Ransom says, I'm a big fan of Voyager. It had escaped the Star Trek drama and was out in the unknown.
The thing is,
So,
I'm wondering about is they went down to discover a food source, right?
yeah, they decided they wanted to eat this orchid.
Yeah, so it wasn't a dangerous mission. There weren't like hostile aliens running around all over the place ready to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were having transporter issues, why didn't they just wait a couple hours until they fixed the damn transporter before they beamed them up?
Or
Yeah, that's
perhaps
true.
a shuttlecraft?
Well, yeah, there was no urgency to beam them up at that moment, was there? I mean, even if it took a day, I'm sure they could have just, camped out on the planet overnight and had a good sleep. And if there were no, nasty creatures about, they would have been fine.
Bird of Prey.
And we would get along very well with Bird of Prey 5, which is no surprise. He says Tuvix was a monster that should have been shot and killed the moment it was created.
Well,
kill it with fire.
We're definitely getting different sides to this question.
That's why I wish I would have realized this. I would have put neither in the poll.
This was a good one, Jill. You picked a good topic today.
Because both Gorilla and Bird of Prey 5 have had the same answer, and that's surprising.
It will definitely divide the Trekkie community for sure.
And
Todd Michael!
To Todd Michael.
Love your body, Larry. Regarding Tuvix, Janeway got to do what Janeway got to do. It's true. Judge, jury, and executioner. Let's create a monstrosity and then kill it with fire.
Yeah, and Captain Time Lord responds to Stephen saying, I was asking a question which I believe is the very essence of the spirit of discovery. It's great. And Sci-Fi Nation says, greetings, everyone. I've been rewatching this show the last few days.
Nice. Oh, and I think Sci-Fi Nation is doing a Star Trek Online stream this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Sci-Fi Nation? Check that out. Is that the channel on here? Or?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He has a channel.
Can you put a link to it, Jill?
Yeah, I could. Oh, wait.
That'd be awesome. I wouldn't mind checking that out tonight.
I have to open my notepad for a moment.
Oh, geez. Don't let your computer crash again.
Yeah, no.
Don't do anything risky on my account.
No, I got Sci-Fi Nation right here.
Sweet.
You do need to get a new PC soon, I think, though.
Probably. Thinking about it.
It's been acting up the last few weeks badly. Usually it overheats, though, right?
Yes, I am, Scotty. Thank you. And here's the link to Sci-Fi Nation's channel. Subscribe there.
Thank you, Jill.
And have fun. And Stephen Ransom responds, you, dear Captain, have a spirit of discovery. It was science I was talking about. That's what we're here for today.
Mm-hmm.
And
all right.
And also, I wonder why. I don't know. Magic Transporter episodes were made for some of the strangest Next Generation episodes, which we'll be talking about a little later. But today is even worse than those episodes. But I mean, I'm not saying it's a terrible episode, but because it definitely gets us talking. Anyway, this episode was written. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go.
This episode was written on May 6th, 1996. And it was written by Andrew Shepard Price and Mark Gaberman, while the teleplay was scripted by Kenneth Biller. And it also seems like key elements of the episode were heavily influenced by Michael Piller and Brandon Braga. Piller wanted to be sure that Tuvix would fight for his life, because I think it was written differently before, where he sacrificed himself. So they switched that around. And this episode was directed by Cliff Boyle, who also directed for TNG and Deep Space Nine. And as soon as we get on the Voyager, we see that there's a problem with the molecular imaging scanner, like PvP was talking about before.
Mm-hmm.
The device is found right above the transporter pad, and they call this glitch a minor glitch. But
I'm sure that will present itself as being no big deal. The episode will be over in approximately 5 minutes.
Right.
I'm with McCoy. I don't think there's any such thing as a minor glitch when it comes to transporters. You're either alive or you're dead.
And I don't have any books on Enterprise, so I had to look at Memory Alpha, and it says that if you're just off by 1,000 of if if this imaging scanner is off by just 1,000th of a percentage, then the transport will fail. So with the margin for error like that, would any glitch be minor? So yes, I
Also,
agree.
that's an interesting point, Jill.
Hmm.
If it's that precise and it can be off even a small percentage and not function, how was Tuvix even created?
I don't know,
Because
but
I mean,
yeah,
he shouldn't have existed, right?
I
The
don't know
transporter
where.
should have not allowed two beings to be merged into one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that 1,000th of percent kind of margin for error comes from.
But no,
So
I think your point is, well taken. I think that's a really great observation. And like, the transporter is a device that has to function at 100% accuracy, or it doesn't function at all. So, that being the case, how could two beings beaming up at the same time be merged into one being? I don't think the transporter would actually allow that when I think about
Okay.
it.
Okay. And I appreciate delving into it.
Yeah, I'm just
And it
asking,
is
right?
an interest. Oh, no, absolutely. But there are certain conceits that you have to allow when it
Well, I
comes
mean,
to
the
it.
script
Because,
had to, the story had to happen, right?
yeah,
well, and
like
I hate to back it up one, but the transporter itself is fictional. Now, in world,
Well, yeah, I agree. I
we
know
can deal
that.
with it.
I wish I
That's
had one to get to work every day.
Oh, ditto. Yeah. Me too. I would trust it if it was 1,000th of a percent off, if it meant that I didn't have to
Hey, it
drive
would
for
save me a few
25
thousand
minutes.
dollars in gas every year.
Yeah, but
yeah,
the electricity costs for having your own transporter, very high, very high.
the convenience factor.
I'd pay for the convenience. Hey, but the gas prices would offset it.
I think Todd Michael has the answer there. The transporter allowing two people to be merged into one is because
Because
Yeah, because the story had to happen. I get
yeah,
it. I know it's TV.
how is there gravity
I'm
aboard
just
this
being
starship in
nitpicky.
space?
I'm just being nitpicky. But that's, I'm a geek. What can I say?
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. And it's part of the reason why we're here.
yeah. And so Harry, Kim, and Hogan try to transport Neelix and Tuvok back on board, but something has gone very wrong. And with that, the abomination of Tuvix is
Oh,
born,
jeez.
and they're
That's a still I really don't need to look at too long.
See,
oh,
see
I'm
there.
so sorry. Now do you like the slides?
The big question is how did the transporter create such snazzy threads for this newly constructed mutant?
Yeah, not only have their patterns merged, but their uniform designs, which might be the silliest part of this whole thing, have
He looks
also
like he should go
merged.
to a disco very, very, very quickly.
Now I like this actor, uh, and it is kind of if you had a choice between having Tuvok and Neelix be separated at the end, spoilers, or just have Tuvix be on the show for the remainder of the show.
Well,
Would you,
yeah, from a character perspective, merging Tuvok and Neelix seems like pairing oil and water, with one being logical and the other attuned to his instincts. But you're right, the character actor Tom Wright does a really great job with his performance. He somehow figures out how to mix these two
Well, I just want
yes.
to
pretty perfectly.
ask, uh, maybe it would have been a better decision to leave him in the cast and continue on. Like, my question is, were both of the personalities and memories of the two, that were combined in the transporter, were they still in his mind?
Yeah.
So he was still basically functioning with two personalities in his head?
Well, but merged, so it would kind
Yeah,
of
so
would.
the question there is if you can transport a consciousness, can you duplicate a consciousness?
Well, my question is, if both consciousnesses survived the transporter and they were both in his mind still functional and alive, would it not have been just as ethical to leave him as he was?
Well, and that's why this is one of the hotly debated episodes of Voyager.
Hmm.
Because I think if the actor was that good in his role, they should have just kept the character maybe.
Well, and as much as I enjoy this actor, I would rather have Tim Russ back, even if that means that we have to deal with Ethan Phillips.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I do love me some Tuvok.
It's like 50-50, I guess, isn't it?
And Sci-Fi Nation says the same way that the unicorn dog was created and Kirk split in two in the TOS episode The Enemy Within, which we'll be reviewing next Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, the unicorn dog. I love the unicorn dog. That was
Me
so
too,
cool.
so cute.
It's like, let's get a cute dog and dress him up to look like a weird little alien dog and put a unicorn horn on his head.
And of course, Riker was also duplicated in the Next Generation episode.
Oh, jeez. It's too bad they didn't just vaporize Riker in the transporter, actually.
Really, you don't like William?
Well, it's like he was like second in command for 7 seasons on TNG.
Oh,
It's like,
Thomas.
well, I don't want my command of my own ship. It's like, what the hell, man? You're like second in command. Take command. Be a captain of your own ship. You just wanted to be under Picard's shadow, and after a while, it was just like, really?
Holy wow, man!
It's like, why didn't he want to, like, become a captain? I never got that.
Because of loyalty to his ship and crew. I love
come
Commander
on,
William
come on. In real life, anybody that capable of being the second in command should be in command of their own starship.
Although, whenever you did see that plot line of, oh, here's a command for you, Riker, is he going to leave the ship today? You knew at the end of the day he was not going to leave.
That's true. That was the problem. There was like no suspense at all. It was like, okay, yeah, Riker's gonna think of an excuse to basically stay second in command of Picard. Oh well.
Mm-hmm. So Captain Time Lord says, if they combine consciousness and memories, does Tuvok know where Neelix stashed his porn? Yes. Tuvok forever knows the answer to this question.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Neelix might have porn. Tuvok probably not, because Vulcans, just do the pawn. Hey, speaking of pawn far, what the hell would happen if he went into pawn far when they're like millions of light years away from Vulcan? Like, he'd just die, right?
Well, Tuvix is no longer Vulcan. He's
right.
No, I meant the Vulcan half.
So okay, so that's a question. Spock is half human, half Vulcan, and he goes into Ponfar, so it's possible Tuvix will too.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I never thought of that before.
Neither did I. That's a good point. Stephen Ransom says Tuvix was played with the lives of 2 crewmen. It had no right. Also, these transporter accident stories are annoying at best. It put chinks in the science, which is problematic to begin with. Yes, agreed completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Mega Cropper wants to reboot Voyager with a white male captain.
Okay.
Gender swapping.
Captain Kenneth Janeway.
Okay.
It would be John Way. Or maybe John Wayne. To go all the way. Captain John Wayne of the Starship Voyager.
Captain Time Lord says, how can you merge 2 consciousnesses? A fascinating question completely ignored by the writers of this episode. Yep, they just say it happened.
Yeah.
Well, they do wrestle with it a little bit. Like, I think that Janeway does say that Tuvix is a better cook than Neelix.
Yeah, right.
I don't think Scotty will appreciate this comment.
No, I don't think so either. He says, if I combined with Scotty, obviously I would be the dominant consciousness. So where did Scotty go?
If there is ever a transporter accident happening between myself and the captain, I would ask that Bird of Prey vaporize us with a disruptor. It would be the way that I would like to go.
Oh my god. I would try to separate y'all.
Just beam us into space and get it over with.
Oh my god. Okay. Good. Well, what if I knocked y'all out for the entire
Tula got laid in the holodeck? What?
Okay.
And the lower decks crew had to clean it up afterwards. Oh my stars.
Well,
we're talking filth now.
Well, Gorilla is talking filth. Mega Crapper says only Bobby Burnett and his Ladyboy reference. this episode.
I'm not familiar with that reference.
Okay, the chat is getting a bit strange.
Yeah, no, right? I
Well,
get
this is a
distracted with
strange
the chat.
episode.
Well, hey, I love it when the chat gets weird, though. It's always fun and entertaining.
So at any moment, Tom Wright is able to switch between Tuvok and Neelix's personality. So at this point, he follows Tuvok's lead by going to sickbay, where the doctor confirms that their merge, which includes their proteins, enzymes, and their DNA, but he's otherwise healthy, so no Cronenberg-style Brian Braga moments this time. You'll have to wait for the spider monsters on the Orville for that one. And already, yeah, no. The way Tuvix...
Son, you fugly.
And not only that, but the way that Tuvix is staring at Cass this whole episode is really creepy. But I can't really fault it because that's exactly what Tuvix would do.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the moment where we learn that Tuvix also merged with the orchids on the planet. But at this point, they're not exactly concerned with it because it doesn't seem to be causing any other changes. Even still, this is a good moment for Captain Janeway because she has the intuition to query if there's a connection between the orchids
and
the
merged
molecular
with orchids.
scanner. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow,
he's part flower.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah, but we have to wait for Kim to run his diagnostics.
Oh my stars.
Anyway,
get a haircut.
Let's continue. Didn't mean to interrupt. Oh man. But yeah, he's part flower. Okay.
I must have skipped some things. Yeah, I skipped a whole bunch of pictures, but it's fine. Meanwhile, Cass is tasked with the job of running a full biospectral analysis on Tuvix, and there was some good dialogue here that merges the two personalities well. He says, "You're my friends and my family, so worrying would be illogical." And part of Cass's analysis is asking questions about how Tuvix thinks, which are good questions. Is he thinking with two minds, or are they merged? And it turns out that his consciousness is merged into one new one, being composed of minds of both men. At this point, he chooses the name Tuvix, but not before considering Nevok.
I'm glad. I think Tuvix is much better.
Yeah, and all of that would have been fine if not for another weird and uncomfortable scene where Tuvix calls Cass sweeting, but at least he apologizes for it. And
no, he is half Vulcan after all.
Yeah, after all of this analysis, Tuvix is restless and he wants to work on the bridge. So Janeway agrees to allow him at the next briefing before deciding if she wants him on the bridge. And the doctor supports this notion, giving him a clean bill of health. And also basically he just wants him to go away. Because he says, quote, possessing Tuvok's irritating sense of intellectual superiority and Neelix's annoying ebullience.
Well, there you go. Sums it up nicely.
Mm-hmm. Despite go ahead.
Sorry, Jill. I just wanted to make a comment. I always enjoyed the scenes in Voyager with the Doctor, probably the most, because I actually felt the Doctor was probably the best written, well-rounded character in the entire series. But that's just for me, right? So
no, you're objectively correct. There's no opinion about it.
Yeah, I like the Doctor.
Robert Picardo is a brilliant actor, and
he was awesome.
He outshines any scene he's in.
He was great. Yeah.
No doubt.
Anyway, I will shut up now.
No, you're right. So, despite the glitch mentioned earlier with the transporter, we're now hand-waving all that away. Nobody cares anymore about the molecular scanner. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And given that, we launch into theories of how the accident occurred and how it's related to the alien orchids. And this is the part where Tuvix combines knowledge the combined knowledge between Tuvok and Neelix combines into him examining the lysosomal enzymes of the plant. And basically, what he concludes is that the orchid underwent a process called symbiogenesis, which can be reproductive or evolutionary.
Oh, Voyager's always so good when it toys with evolution, though.
So, well, that'll be a future live stream.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that in the future when we discuss the problems with the warp drive.
Mm-hmm. So, symbiogenesis is a real thing in biology where a species combines together somehow in some way to ensure the other's continued existence. Like when one species will help another hunt or destroy its parasites. But that's just the evolutionary definition. But biologically, it's a little more difficult. Basically, because I don't really know biology very well. So I'm not really going to pretend like I have any sort of insight on that portion of it. But we all do have these lysome enzymes. So I don't know.
Well, the thing is, Jill. I mean, we are living beings, and I imagine there are all kinds of little parasites and things that live in and on us. You know, like I remember reading once there were like little critters that live in our eyelashes.
Are you talking about water bears?
I can't remember what they were called, but there's like little critters, you know, all over and in our in our gut, of course. You know, we have all these little things that are alive, and they actually probably kind of keep us healthy. So there is a symbiosis. I mean, it's just a natural part of any living thing, I think, right?
That's correct. We are a multitude. Each of us has
Yes.
a multitude of creatures. So that is a little weird, but it's true.
Yeah, it's a little creepy to think about. But hey, it's like, well, I'm okay, so I feel fine every day. So if they want to live on me and in me, I don't mind at all.
Right. Nothing really we could do about it anyway.
Well, that's true. Unless we got a transporter that would, like, cleanse us of all, other
and then
biofilters.
But then we wouldn't be us, right? So anyway, sorry to interrupt again.
No, that's fine. That was a good tangent, I think. So I mean, since I'm not a biologist.
What?
You're not a biologist?
I was lied to.
I thought you were like all-knowing, Jill.
No, I know about some things, but not about biology. So I have to go by the explanation given in this episode, which is that the symbiogenesis of this episode involves merging the DNA of the two species. And I'm not certain it's that simple, but this is the Voyager science, and that's how it's explained. So if someone wants to explain that further, that would be interesting. But for now, somehow merging the botanicals caused the life forms to merge. So we're essentially calling, I don't know, is Tuvix a vegetable then? I don't know.
He's now automatically a vegan.
I always thought Neelix was a vegetable for sure, but
well, Tuvok is for definite. He's a vegetarian. Oh, a vegetable. I'm sorry, I misheard.
Yeah. Tuvok is a vegetarian. That was a Neelix dig. Neelix is a vegetable. So when we're talking the transporter, we're not just talking about molecular structure. So this is the biggest problem with this. We're talking about quantum physics. And if everything is broken down to the scale of quantum physics, I don't really exactly see how symbiogenesis could be a thing. How does the orchid do any sort of reproduction in the pattern buffer? Even though I like the moral dilemma, the science portion is a little problematic.
Well, and I think hence the title of the stream with the magic.
Yeah, exactly. It's magic. And I think it's also a symptom of some of the franchise fatigue that Star Trek was sort of suffering at this point, and how the science suffered a little bit because of it. Of course, it's not suffering as badly as it is today. Compared to today, this episode is a grand masterpiece. And
true.
especially since it gets us talking. But I think whenever you decide to step into transporter magic, you're going to run into these problems.
Yeah, it's like time travel, right? In Star
Mhm.
Trek, anytime you're dealing with like time travel or transporter magic, you could seriously get into trouble real quick.
Yeah.
Usually, though, Trek did handle it quite well. I would say compared to some other shows, but yeah, it can be problematic for sure. I mean, the writers can really write themselves into a corner, basically.
And Bird of Prey 5 says abominations will be vaporized. So yeah, so if there are any abominations in Kuroga, they are vaporized.
Yeah, well,
That's-
And for
Klingons
that, we
wouldn't
thank you.
stand for the abominations.
And Girl's Random Thought says that Tuvok went into Ponfar in season 4 or 5. And
So how the hell did he survive then if he went into Ponfar and there was no Vulcan planet to head back to?
Well, and I think that's the conundrum that they face in the episode, but I haven't seen it. Like I said, this is not
I don't
one
think
I
I ever
revisit
saw that
very
episode,
often.
but geez, that would have been like impossible, right? He would have like died.
Well, you think so, but he could also fight to the death. But I think it had something happened with the holodeck.
Oh, they had the holodeck, so he could just like create a Vulcan woman and go and do what he had to do, so to speak.
I don't remember precisely.
I don't remember precisely either. I remember the conversation that Tom Paris has with Tuvok and says, "Why don't you just create a hologram?" And Tuvok is like, "But that would be disrespect to my wife." And Tom is like, "Come on."
Well, he could just recreate his wife in the holodeck, right? To the exact molecule.
Well, not to the. It would be now. You're talking about like Leah Brahms levels of recreating.
Well,
people.
he could at least save his life.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying he
sure.
could get done what he needed to do and continue on, right?
That sounds more like a Riker move.
I mean, I'm not saying it's romantic or anything, but I mean, biology has its necessities, and sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, at this point, it's medicinal.
So exactly my point.
It's a medicinal sex doll?
Yes.
Okay. If that's what you're saying.
Hey, medicinal sex is better than no sex, right?
Oh my stars, talk about a pity lay.
Okay, I will shut the hell up now.
No, let's talk more about Ponfar and the holodeck next week on Sex Track Voyager.
Yes, a whole new series. Ponfar and sex, yes. Yeah, actually, that probably would get a lot of views.
Probably.
Oh, I could go on for hours about Ponfar.
Yeah, I know. You're next.
Probably get views.
Captain Tyler Lord says, apart from your meat puppet body, all that you are is your consciousness. If you combine two consciousnesses, where did the other one go? The writers did completely ignore an absolutely fascinating question, much more interesting than this fly derivative tedium.
Well, and as we get closer to the end of the episode, as it has been referred to, it is an amalgamation of those two consciousnesses.
It is. He is. Stephen Ransom says.
He? I thought we agreed on it, because it's ugly.
Scotty would be more... I don't know. I don't understand any of this.
Yeah,
I don't think we want to talk about it either.
I'm not getting that sentence either, actually.
Would he be called spork or spotty?
Well, you know what a spork is? It's a combination of a spoon and fork. If you ever seen the plastic ones.
We don't have to name the abomination. Bird of Prey is going to vaporize it as soon as it steps off the transporter pad.
Yeah, right. Before it decides on a name.
Oh,
exactly.
Exactly.
Bird of Prey 5 has already used his destructor, and Spotty is gone. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Whatever.
I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna turn a phaser on myself. I'm gonna Captain Terrell myself from
don't do that.
From Star Trek 2.
No self-phasering here.
No, never. Please don't.
Well, Just got a bad headache from that SETI eel. Leave me alone.
Well, what's the next?
Mega Cropper says Janeway isn't canon in my mind.
Well, she is, but she's not my favorite captain.
She's canon, yeah.
You know what I don't like about Janeway is I always found her voice really, really annoying.
She has a Katharine Hepburn voice.
I just didn't like her voice.
She does. I didn't know that until I went to go watch. It was for free. They had that movie Queen River Queen something.
Oh yeah. Oh, the African Queen.
The African Queen.
Oh, that's a great movie.
They had it for free at the Draft House, so I went to see it.
That's a great movie. Do you guys agree that's an awesome film?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And the whole time I was like, hey, Captain Janeway.
Yeah, it's a really, really great film. I mean, Humphrey Bogart is pretty excellent in that too, you got to admit.
Well, and as long as we're talking about other media, the reason I don't like Janeway is because she manipulated Sam Malone on a couple of episodes of Cheers, and I never forgave her for that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No, it has not. Oh, and also, Captain Janeway was Billy Crystal's very mean wife on Throw Mama from the Train. So there's another reason not to like her that has nothing to do with Voyager.
Wow.
And possibly to do with Voyager. She goes back in time and ends up in prison in Orange is the New Black.
Oh, right. That's true, too.
Right.
Oh, man.
And so it must have been some kind of temporal disturbance.
She goes back in time and she ends up being Mrs. Columbo. These are all things that Kate Mulgrew was a part of. Oh, am I stuck?
I'm sorry. I had to step away for just a second.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So most of the best science fiction ideas lie discarded, says Captain Time Lord. Well, yeah, that's true, but that's where you look at an episode, and if you get an idea from an episode, then you can create something new, and that's the fun part. And Stephen Ransom says the Doctor was a great new character. I loved him. Yeah, me too. And let's see. I'm just going through the chat, seeing what's here. Captain Time Lord says if a transporters really do duplicate everything so easily, including consciousness, as you so confidently claim, then why not paste multiples at the end? Why can't they use the transporter as a cloning device? Yeah, that I think we actually did question that earlier on. If you can transport a consciousness, can you duplicate it? That is the question.
And I hate to be dismissive about it, but I would say no, because you need one pattern in the buffer to be able to sequence to transport. So it is a transportation of actual matter. It's not copying it. So your supposition is that it's a copying machine, and based on the technology as presented in the Star Trek The Next Generation technical manual, which I believe is pertinent in the Voyager era as well, written by Rick Sternbach and Michael Okuda, you can't copy the pattern. It's not a replicator.
Yeah, and Michael Okuda is an authority on the Star Trek technical stuff, so that's good. And Captain Time Lord says, you can see why I have crossed the line to full-time science fiction writer. Way ahead of the curve.
And right. Modest.
Great.
No, that was a great quote. Jill, quote of the day. Would you like to repeat it for the audience?
I know things.
Yes, you do.
I think everybody knows things, so it's kind of a stupid quote.
No, not at all, but you do.
Cut Kirk, paste Kirk, paste Kirk, paste Kirk, paste. No? Yeah, those are clones. Kirk clones. Yeah. The magical transporter theory. And Stephen Ransom says the transporter is a broken storage device. The writers broke it during Next Generation. It was a beaming technology grabbing a whole person and putting them at the end of the beam. And Scotty made a most excellent point earlier. Don't question the gravity of a starship.
Well,
and
let's see.
Yeah, Stephen thinks duplication is possible. And Captain Time Lord said he'd like to know about the buffer. if the information is stored with 100% accuracy, why not paste it twice? And Gorilla says, I missed the chat where I said I'm glad you think I'm funny. HR doesn't think I'm funny, though. And Sci-Fi Nation says, if you mix salt and sugar into a glass of water, it appears to disappear, but it's still fully there. It's out of sight, but you can taste it.
Oh, wow.
So, same principle. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking up artificial gravity in my Next Generation thing.
Sure. And Captain Time Lord said, once again, I'll make a month of YouTube gold from taking a point discarded by others. Consciousness is fascinatingly a unique property, worthy of deeper study. And so now, this is part of the episode where Tuvix starts creeping on Kes, and it's uncomfortable, even to me, and I'm not even there. I haven't watched Voyager in a long time, but is it this bad when it's even just Neelix with Kes? Because I don't...
Sorry, I had to break away for a minute, guys, because they're having someone come around my apartment today looking at the air conditioner units, and I had a knock on my door, and I had to let the guy in, and he was only here for like a minute, but he just wanted to see what kind of air conditioner I had in my unit, so that's why I went away for a few minutes.
Oh, that's totally fine.
Anyway, he's hitting on Kes. What?
Yeah, he is. I don't even remember how badly I felt about Neelix and Kes.
Well, I know Neelix and Kes were like a thing, right?
They were.
Yeah. But you know, with the Spock half of him, would he not have to wait for Ponfar? Or that gets really complicated.
No, I think DC Fontana cleared up something about Ponfar. It's not that Vulcans have sex once every 7 years, or that's the only time they mate.
Oh, here we go again. Let's get Raquel in this conversation.
Yeah, she disagrees because
Raquel will strongly disagree with Scotty.
Or DC Fontana, for that matter.
If DC Fontana had made an actual episode and actually showed it, then it would be canon, but it's not.
Yeah, I think Ponfar is
we're getting
canon,
there, are we? All right.
Yeah.
As an old Trekker, Ponfar rules.
I'm
just glad I'm not a salmon having to swim upstream for so many years. Anyway, I'm being silly.
So anyway, they go to the mess hall and they take over cooking, and you think that maybe you'll get a break from that drama, but they skip all of the cooking part and go right back to the uncomfortable part.
Oh, jeez.
So it's basically unavoidable. By this point, after success in the briefing room where Tuvix kind of figured out what was going on with himself, with the plant sex and everything.
Plant sex.
Captain Janeway is allowing Tuvix to serve as tactical officer on the bridge, and he ends up fixing a problem that would have taken Tuvok 10 days because Tuvix allowed his intuition and instinct from Neelix to let him experiment more freely and follow his hunch. And
obviously, the combination was a good one then.
Yeah, and
I mean, logic and intuition together is always a good thing. Oh, did Jill's computer just die?
No.
There's an old axiom. The whole is never greater than the sum of its parts. I think Tuvix might be disproving that notion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's like the Beatles, right? I mean, all four of them never did stuff as good once they broke up in 1970 and did their solo stuff. But as a band, the four of them were brilliant.
Yeah. So Tom and B'Elanna go down to the planet to combine chrysanthemums and they combine flowers with with the two flowers with the alien orchid via the transporter. Herc 130, we just found out, is a Vulcan. That's great.
So they so Balana and who went down?
Tom.
Tom and Balana. Yeah.
So that they should have been combined when they came back up too. Now that would have been very interesting.
Well, they weren't because they didn't transport with the flower. You have to transport with the flower.
Oh, it's flower magic.
Yeah, it's flower magic. So as long as they transport by themselves without a flower.
Just think though, Jill, if they had transported up with the flower at the beginning of the episode before, the Tuvix thing, which gender would they have been?
Both.
That would have been pretty weird.
And half Klingon, or a quarter Klingon. And,
well, yeah, I mean, that
3/4 human.
This whole idea opens up way too many cans of worms for me. And I don't like worms in general, so.
Well, thanks, man. Now I'm thinking about what kind of genitals Neelix has, and what kind of genitals, what kind of weird. What's the rate? What is the species of Neelix again? To anybody? Talaxian. So yeah, no. What does Talaxian junk look like?
Well,
I do not know, nor have I ever thought of this.
No, this is the first time for me too, Jill. I'm sorry that it had to happen here.
I didn't mean to bring that up in the conversation.
No, thank you, PvP.
But the thing is, I mean, think about it. I mean, Star Trek has, the kind of bad rap as being like, oh, well, everybody's a humanoid. It's just, stick a forehead appliance on them or whatever. And that's what the different, species are, right? And that's pretty much true, I would think, in most of the series of Trek. But I would think, okay, if the foreheads are basically similar, then I would think the junk would probably be similar enough, to function for, the interspecies, fun time. Anyway, I'll shut the hell up now.
Yeah, so I guess Ocampa and Talaxian.
No, yes.
I'm just saying they could probably get it on,
somehow.
I mean,
but the weird thing about Kes is that she's what, 2, 3 years old?
Yeah, that's the worst part of the whole thing.
That's the worst part.
They mature very quickly, though. I mean, do numbers really mean anything if she's like a 30-year-old, in body?
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand the numbers being a bit creepy, but she's like not a kid, right? She's like, an adult female, basically.
With 2 years of life experience.
That's the thing. It's the lack of experience. There's an innocence about the Ocampa that when in the first episode they decided to couple young Ocampa with a Talaxian.
I never thought of that. That is kind of weird, actually.
I'm assuming that was put into place because the Ocampa were only supposed to have a 7-year lifespan. So technically, at the onset of the show, it was basically a ticking clock to Kes dying anyway.
Yeah.
And the alternative to that is because of her biology, should she be forced to be alone?
Well, the thing is,
no, because if she stayed with the Ocampa, because that was what the caretaker was, protecting.
Yeah, she should have stayed with. I don't remember why she joined Voyager, just to reveal a hole in my knowledge there. I don't remember.
Yeah, I forget Voyager pretty much. I've only probably
and
seen
it's in
half
the pilot.
episodes. Mm-hmm. I never was big. Basically when Voyager came on the TV, I watched I think the first 2 seasons, and it was just like I'm bored, and I just gave up after that. And I've watched a handful online since then. There are some great ones, like the one with what was it, Species? The 2-parter.
Yeah,
those episodes are phenomenally great. But I never was a big Voyager fan, really.
Yeah, because the only thing I remember from the pilot is some cool moments with Harry Kim and Balana.
Yeah, I never really got much out of Voyager. I mean, I think when what's her name, the Borg lady,
7 of 9.
Yeah, 7 of 9. Man, I'm having brain cramps today. Yeah, 7 of 9. When she came into the series, I think it really did kind of pick up in its pacing and its stories, and there were some good ones, when she came on, because she was a really good character, I thought.
Okay, so Herc
Okay.
130 says Tuvix's junk is pistols and stamens.
Well, that would make sense, actually.
So they back to the flowers. They use this method to make mini hybrids to see if they can figure out a way to reverse the effect and essentially get Neelix and Tuvok back. But after over 100 different experiments to separate the plant back to its original forms with the medical transporter, they seem to be giving up because every time they try, the plant dies a horrible cell death.
Well, the hell with the plant. Who cares about the plant? We want to rescue the two dudes.
Well, it's a proof of concept.
Okay. I'm thinking, though, too, the transporter is such a weird concept. I mean, you've got the pattern buffer and all that. So would it not be possible for them to put Tuvix's pattern into the buffer, save it, then do the whole transporter thing to bring back the two separate individuals back to life? And then since you had Tuvix's pattern saved, would you not be able to bring him back as well and essentially bring back three beings?
I don't think you can save a pattern. Again, not a cloning device.
Well, Scotty's pattern was saved in the TNG episode, right, for many years.
But that was him and Franklin's buffers or pattern in the buffer being cycled so that it would be sort of a a preservative.
Yeah,
for
but
them.
the thing is, if Scotty,
but there's no copy.
If Scotty could be preserved all those years, couldn't they use the pattern buffer to, save Tuvix? I mean, it's just an idea.
But and again, you can't save a pattern. It is the complexities of the pattern cannot be replicated. Again, it's not
wasn't
replicated.
Scotty's pattern saved all those years, even though if it had to be recycled?
It was just the same pattern in the buffer over and over and over again. It just didn't
so
go
you
anywhere.
Do that with Tuvix?
But you're not. Once you rematerialize, you're still getting Tuvix. You're not separating.
That's what I'm saying, though. Couldn't they do that and
save him forever?
Save Tuvix and get the other two back if they had their separate buffer patterns in the transporter?
No, because you're copying, and you can't copy.
Yeah, you can't copy because you can save how to put the matter together, but you can't save the actual material of the being.
Okay.
Because there's only one copy. There's only one person. So
yeah, I'm not a scientist, so I mean, I don't understand this stuff.
So you can.
It's not real science. It's like TV science.
If you had to save the material, then that would take up a lot of space. That.
I was just kind of, optimistically hoping you could have all three of them, in the show, which would have been kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Hey, Jill, you should do a poll. Would it be better to have Tuvix continue in the series or the original two characters?
Yeah. Well, that is my poll.
Was that? Oh. I must have missed that.
Well,
where's your poll? I'm not seeing it.
It's at the top. It's at the top. Maybe you can't see it on your phone, but it's there. No, so far, I have 21 votes.
I'm on a PC actually, Jill, and all I'm seeing is your StreamYard connection.
Yeah, for some reason you don't ever see the pin stuff in my chats. I don't know why.
I'm not
seeing
really the
help
poll,
with that.
sadly.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh well, no worries.
You don't get to play. Anyway, at least you get to be on the panel.
Well, I can. Obviously, I'm honored to be on the panel. Always, Jill.
He says, I suppose it would be like trying to extract flour, eggs, and water after you bake the cake. So that's the conclusion that the doctor echoes. He said,
probably not doable.
I feel as though I've lost 2 patients. I'm sorry. And this horrifies Kes. And that basically sums up what she looks like for the bulk of this episode. She is just horrified.
Yeah.
And so is the entire ship, because no one has lost hope enough to have a memorial service for Tuvok and Neelix after this discovery. And the varying degrees of different types of horror that's on Kes's face throughout this episode sum it up pretty succinctly as and one time we actually talked about this before, Scotty, and Kes actually sums up something you said before. She says, it's funny, if something happened to Tuvok, if Neelix were here, he'd be the first person to comfort me. And if I lost Neelix, Tuvok would be the first person to guide me spiritually. And now, I don't have either of them.
Feels kind of sad.
Yeah. And then this episode gets really weird. But I guess
it gets weird?
More weird.
What? A weird Voyager episode? Yeah,
it's
never would have guessed.
But I guess
the look on Kess's face right now, what do you do when your father figure and boyfriend are merged into one and you look at it and you're just like, I don't know whether or not to hug you or F you. I don't know.
That is a bit weird. Yeah, I gotta admit. That is a bit weird. But I'm sure there are some ladies that would, not mind.
Oh, don't even finish that sentence.
There are some ladies that go, "Hey, hey, Daddy."
Yeah, and that's why it's so weird.
That's why it's weird.
I'm so sorry.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I'm so sorry. It just came and popped into my head. Sorry. Anyway, continue, please, Jill.
That feeds into why it's so weird that Tuvix is in love with Kes.
That is weird. I still can't buy a half Vulcan guy falling in love. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't make sense.
Vulcans fall in love.
Yeah, they do. They do.
But they control it, right? They don't show it.
Yeah.
I think that
it must be the Neelix side that's, driving him on to be friendly, should I say?
Well, but no, because even when you look at Sarek and Amanda in the original series, there's an expression of love between a Vulcan and a human.
Obviously. They do the little finger thing.
Yes.
In Journey to Babel. I mean, that's awesome. There's obviously affection, but still, in that episode, Sarek is still quite contained. He's not hugging her and kissing her and, showing big time emotion. It's just a little finger touch once in a while. It's like, yeah, you're there. I appreciate you. We're a couple. I know we're we've been married for X number of years and, but it's not overly done, right?
Well, no, there's not a lot of public displays of affection on Vulcan.
Exactly. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have marriage drums, I recently learned.
Yeah, and they have the bells and the gong and
Geez,
just think if we had marriage like that here on planet Earth, wow, that would be pretty wild.
So
more subdued though, I guess.
Really, Kes and Neelix's relationship is my least favorite couple in all of Star Trek, and this just makes it even weirder.
Mm-hmm. It is weird.
But the actor does a really great job of being incredibly cringy about it. I mean, because that is believable. Tuvix would be like this. It would be a hybrid. He's really a great actor, which is why I hate this so much. I really.
What happened, Jill? Did something break you?
You okay?
This whole thing breaks me. Kes brings up a great point that Tuvok has a wife, T'Pel, to whom he's devoted.
Oh, geez, that's true. I forgot about that.
Right, he has a wife and kids.
Wow. Yeah, that's really weird then.
Mm-hmm. Which makes Kes and Neelix too weird for Kes. It just makes it.
Yeah, well, that's major creepy.
Like we talked about it earlier, just Neelix and Kes is weird. So it's just terrible, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never liked the Neelix Kes thing. It was always kind of forced, I thought, basically.
And finally, Kes is ready to face reality, so she talks that she'll never see Neelix again. In this strange bonding moment with Janeway, where they discuss being separated from their loved ones indefinitely. And when the hope that you have to see that loved one again becomes a loss. And that's what that's all about. Then there's a 2-week jump, and Tuvix is making artwork. Being a tactical officer and a chef. Right?
Man, I don't think I've ever seen this episode because I do not remember this.
Yeah, so he's basically showing interest in doing both things that Tuvok and Neelix did respectfully, and Janeway claims that Tuvix has stopped creeping on Kes, which is good for her, at least because that was the worst part of the first half of this episode. Earlier, they showed how Tuvix has an advantage in tactical, combining the logic with the intuition. And now, apparently, he's a better cook than Neelix. But then again, who isn't? And so then the doctor comes up with an idea. And I guess he comes up with an idea. He says, suppose I found a radioisotope that could selectively attach itself to specific DNA sequences. Could the surgical transporters be reprogrammed to lock onto those enhanced sequences and separate them from the remaining DNA?
Okay, this is heavy transporter magic happening here.
Yes. Kim says, well, I think so. But we'll have to modify the molecular imaging scanners. They're just, they just picked a part of the transporter.
They're making this stuff up as they go along.
Right. So they mentioned the molecular imaging scanners at the beginning of the episode. So basically, they just picked this particular device to use for this episode.
Well, the plot's got to continue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they didn't mess with the Heisenberg compensators, though.
Oh,
no, they
didn't. Seriously?
Well, not this time. That'll be next week's episode.
That's my favorite. I love the Heisenberg compensators.
The transporter manipulation in some episodes, though, is just a little bit too much. I mean, this is like, oh, gosh.
Yeah. So basically, they're going to use a radioisotope with the medical transporter to separate the DNA.
Makes sense to me.
And so, I mean, they try to explain it, but it's just like the EMH further says, until late in the 21st century, physicians administered barium to patients with certain gastrointestinal disorders. The radioactive properties of the barium made the lining of the intestines visible with the primitive imaging.
I have a barium story that's quite unfortunate, if you'd like to hear it
called X-rays. Okay, sure, yes.
But later, much later.
And Kim says instead of barium, oh crap, my cat is...
Oh no, the cat.
Oh no,
the cat is being combined with another pet.
Your cat is attacking again, Jill?
No, she's coughing up a hairball, so I kicked her off the head.
Gosh. Wow. Glad I didn't have to cough up hairballs.
I'll have to clean that up later.
Oh, such fun.
Mm-hmm. So Kim says, instead of barium, we've come up with a radioisotope that attaches itself to the DNA of one of the merged species, but not the other. So then, just by doing that, the EMH says, then we can simply beam out the selected DNA and segregate the two merged species. And so that's how they explain the magic of how they're going to separate Tuvix.
Basically, we figured out that the transporter can put these two dudes back to where they were.
Yeah, but I mean, so how does the radioisotope decide which DNA to attach to? And since the whole, and how does it do that when the whole sequence is scrambled? So that's why we know this is magic, because I can't answer those questions.
Yeah, well, if the writers can't answer it, then we're pretty much out of luck, right?
Right. But they came up with something, I guess. Anyway, everyone's very excited about this solution, except for Tuvix.
Yeah, well, I guess. I guess he's not excited. He's like, hey, I want to live.
Exactly, he says.
So you guys are going to what now?
So what? Do they
hang
force
on.
him? I've definitely not seen this episode. They force him into the transporter.
Oh, wait.
Phasers or.
Oh, you just wait.
Or did they try to lure him? Did they put Kes in the transporter and try lure him in for an encounter? Or okay, I've been silly. Sorry.
Okay, but you were almost right on what he says. He says, "I don't want to die," And this is the moral conundrum of the episode, which is much more well thought out than the science of the episode. Janeway asks, so at what point did he become an individual and not a transporter accident? And the answer to that is actually when the accident occurred. When he came into consciousness, he was born. But Janeway is also right. If they had figured out a solution more quickly, Janeway and Tuvix himself probably wouldn't have any issue at all separating. But now Tuvix has created a life. He's starting to have friends, and ostensibly people who care about him. And when they bring Tuvix into the debate, he believes he should have full right over his existence because he's here now.
I would agree, actually.
He's a sentient life form, and as such, he believes he deserves to live. That by itself would follow that he should be able to live, even though he was conceived as an accident, and is essentially an abomination.
I gotta say, I was actually conceived as an accident too, although I am not an abomination.
That's good.
Well, my sister was born 15 years before I was, and the doctors told my mother that she could never become pregnant ever again. And fortunately, those doctors were damn wrong, and 15 years later, I happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I was just thinking of happy accidents. I'm sorry.
I just can't imagine. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say hello in the chat to Son of a Red Shirt.
Son of a Red Shirt.
More in the chat. Yeah. I haven't been watching the chat lately.
Well, I'm going to get back to the chat.
People watching now. Excellent.
I'm going to get back to the chat, but I just wanted to get through this.
Can you imagine sitting at that table and everybody looking at you being like, all right, we're going to split this guy up again. This is going to be great. You can step back onto the pad, sir. I don't want to.
Yeah,
so it's not really your choice anymore, buddy.
This is the point where we're told to empathize with his point of view. He's existing. He doesn't want to stop existing, and that's understandable.
Well, who does?
None of
us do, even though eventually that day will come for all of us. But yeah, we enjoy existing.
And that's the point. That's the point, Scotty. Because he exists, Tuvok and Neelix do not. Which leads to Janeway's ultimate decision. Yeah. It's the classic Star Trek answer to these questions. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Good
point, Joe. Still, I don't know. It's a hard thing, right, to decide. I mean, I know the two do deserve to get their lives back, so I do agree with that point. But
just wait.
Still,
the good stuff's on its way.
It's very unfortunate they have to kill. I mean, since his combined abilities of, the Spockian intelligence and the Neelix, emotionality and, just going, by the seat of his pants, so to speak, they did combine quite well to make an interesting character, right? So, it's a tough one.
The acting is great, but Tuvix, however, believes that they don't matter as individuals because both lived through him. This is his perspective, that despite the people who miss the original Tuvok and Neelix, he thinks that a separation would be murder. And as a sentient being, he believes it's only natural. It's only natural for him to fight for his life.
Exactly.
And it would actually be odd if he didn't. But
anybody would.
And he claims to care for Tuvok and Neelix as parents of him.
Weird.
Right.
That's a bit odd.
It is. Tuvix continues with the argument right out of Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. After Janeway says that the original two men would sacrifice themselves for others. And Tuvix says, "You're right, Captain. That is the Starfleet way. And I know there will be some people who will call me a coward because I didn't sacrifice myself willingly. Believe me, I've thought of that. But I have the will to live of two men. Look at me, Captain. When I'm happy, I laugh. When I'm sad, I cry. When I stub my toe, I yell out in pain. I am flesh and blood, and I have the right to live.
Is that what he says when he's sort of pleading for his life on the bridge?
No, that's what he says right here when he's in the
Oh,
Vulcan.
okay. Okay, so there's an even more impassioned speech. All right, hang on.
Yeah.
So, and I find Tuvix to be selfish.
Yeah, and he says that he understands that he'd be looked at as a coward, so he admits it.
The thing is, I'm not sure if Tuvix is selfish. It's like if you're any living being, as we all are, would feel passionately about continuing their existence, would they not?
Oh, absolutely, but at the cost of two other individuals.
Well, yeah, that's the difference. I mean, obviously, none of us though would look forward to our last day of life, even though we all have to face it eventually. But
Right.
yeah, I guess in the sense that there are two individuals that have been merged, I suppose he is selfish in that sense. Still, I have to think though, since both consciousness are still alive essentially in his mind, they are not exactly gone. They are still there. But still, yes, the question is, do not those two individuals have the right to live their separate lives, to fulfill themselves individually in whatever path they might decide to take? So, yeah,
Yes,
that's a good point. That's a good point, Scotty. I would agree with you.
They do.
Thank you.
Anyway, I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right.
I talk so much.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. No, you're fine. Yeah. Well, to further that selfishness, now Tuvix is putting Kess in the middle. He turns to her for help, but of course she can't help him because she loves Neelix. She says to Janeway, when Janeway says that you shouldn't have been put in the middle of this, she says, "But I am in the middle. I have been since the moment of the accident. I don't know how to say goodbye to Neelix and Tuvok. I know this sounds horrible, and I feel so guilty for saying it. And Tuvix doesn't deserve to die, but I want Neelix back." And she begins to cry. And that sums up that quote for me sums up the reason why Tuvix has to go.
Mm-hmm.
As annoying as Neelix is, I wouldn't mind him leaving the ship, but he still has the right to exist, even if I don't want to see him on screen. And he just he and Tuvok deserve to live too.
Yes, I've come around to agree with that. The two of them need to have their separate lives, fulfilled. Even though Tuvix is a cool character, and he probably could have been a great asset with his logic and his emotion working together on the bridge. I think he could have been a great asset to the Voyager crew. Unfortunately, I have to agree. He was something that was created in an unnatural way, and he really does not deserve to exist.
Well, and it's interesting to be putting it in those terms. I don't think it's a matter of deserve. Like I don't want to kill Tuvix. I'm not out for blood.
I actually think he's quite an interesting character.
But I think he deserves to live, but his creation is at the sacrifice of two other crew members, in which case rescuing those two crew members is more important than the life of one crew member. And that's how I would approach it logically. And then, he kind of looks like, oh my stars, the guy from the Goonies right now. What was that? Hey, you guys. Anybody seen the Goonies? Anyway. All right.
I do agree with your...
Sloth. Looks like Sloth from Goonies.
I agree with the observation, though, Scotty. It's like, It's like the crux of the problem, right? You have two original individuals, and then you have the combined individual in Tuvix. And it's like, well, damn, I wish we could save all three of them because they're all kind of interesting and they all kind of deserve to live. But it's like flip a coin, right? There's two sides, and we got to make a decision, one or the other. And I guess we have to go to bring the original guys, back to life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Agreed. Meanwhile, Tuvix is going back to work as tactical officer on the bridge when Janeway has made her decision to bring back Tuvok and Neelix. And Tuvix has one final plea for his life. He makes quite the scene, but eventually does resign himself to his fate. He says, "Commander, are you going to stand by and do nothing while she commits murder?" Mr. Yala, yes, Lieutenant Paris. You. Doesn't anyone see that this is wrong? The security enters and Tuvix tries to run for the turbolift, but they grab him. And Janeway says, "Let him go," because and Tuvix says, "Each of you is going to have to live with this, and I'm sorry for that. For you are all good people. My colleagues, my friends, I forgive you."
Oh my god.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
Oh, and when you watch the episode, this is a desperate man pleading for his life amongst his friends, and everyone is like, "Nah, off with his head."
I gotta see this one. I have never seen this episode. I really want to see it someday.
Scotty, that is a great point. What is weird about this scene is everyone's silence.
Everyone's fine with it. It's like, yeah, we get what you're saying.
No, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. Oh, it is heartbreaking watching this, and everyone around him. He says, "You guys are my friends, my family. What are you doing? Don't kill me." And then they're like, "Sorry, pal."
Like, geez, wouldn't that be like the ultimate betrayal? You think these people are all your friends and family, and they go, "Oh, F you, we're just going to kill you."
Yeah.
Well,
nope.
That would suck.
It's fine. It's fine. No worries.
I wouldn't like that. I was like, "Oh, thanks for nothing, guys."
See, and this is where the moral crux of the thing. Like, I know we've been talking, we've said several times, this is the moral crux of the thing. But this is the part that actually elevates this episode into one of the most dark and twisted episodes of Star Trek I have ever seen.
It's definitely a significant episode. Yes, I would agree.
An innocent man pleading for his life, and in the high-minded Starfleet. I know we're getting Tuvok and Neelix back, so it's not murder. We're just reestablishing what has already been done before, but we are going to coldly and callously look at you like that unicorn dog from Enemy Within. And we're just going to do it. You don't really have a say, you science experiment. Get on the transporter pad.
Yeah, as a mistaken life form, you don't count at all, and we will nullify you.
Like, even if you look at Measure of a Man, Starfleet's mandate is to seek out new life. Well, there it sits.
Yeah, I was thinking of this Measure of a Man. I was thinking of
Mm-hmm.
Measure of a Man a while ago. It's like, that was a much better constructed episode than this one.
Well, it had a more cogent argument, and also it didn't have...
That episode made sense.
I guess Maddox was trying to kill Data, so...
Yeah, Maddox was trying to kill Data for science.
But it was a much better written episode compared to this.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, so you put it perfectly. No one in this room has any sort of reaction. No one recoils or cringes even slightly. And I find the lack of humanity on the bridge a little bit disconcerting. And now... You know, I have complained about how emotion on the bridge can cause the crew to make mistakes and die as a result. But I'm not really asking for emotional instability. Just some small visceral reactions to the great performance by Wright's plea would have been sufficient for me. And so, basically, this scene just shows that everybody agrees with Janeway. And they never, really had much of a bond with Tuvix at all over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, he's there for a couple of weeks and nobody gives a damn about his existence. Like, you would have think they would maybe would have given him a hug or say, sorry, man, but it's just got to be what it's got to be. You know, somebody should have showed a bit of emotion, you would think.
Yeah.
I think that's weak writing, basically.
Look! Oh my God! They've got phasers and they are dragging him to his doom.
Well, geez, the writers could have written the ending much, much better. I mean, this is a major downfall for the writing staff.
Oh, there's a side eye from Paris. I guess this is
who wrote this episode anyway. Come to think of it, if anybody
Jill
knows.
said at the beginning. I forget their names.
I forget their names too, but I wanna.
Well, whoever the writers are, I would like to send them a Raquel Raspberry.
Well, you'll have your chance soon. Well, not soon, but eventually we'll cover this on Clobber.
I'm not a Voyager fan overall, anyway, but
yeah.
Sorry, Jill, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's fine.
I just think Voyager is like one of those series that's kind of up and down. It has great episodes, plenty of mediocre ones, and a handful of bloody awful ones as well. So,
well, when it comes to Star Trek in the modern era, just because this is such a void in my Trek knowledge, it's still better than anything that's being put out now. So I'd rather watch an episode of Voyager than anything right now.
Hey, if I only could watch Voyager for the rest of my life, I would take that over anything made, since the J.J. Abrams era began.
Sure.
I mean, everything after Enterprise is basically garbage to me.
Agreed. And if
anyway, back to the murder plan.
No, yeah, but if we didn't see any reaction from the crew on the bridge, we at least get a reaction from the EMH. The doctor has taken the opposite point of view, and he respects Tuvix's life and will not perform the surgery in order to keep up with the Hippocratic oath of doing no harm. He will not help with killing Tuvix if Tuvix is not consenting. But so, since Tuvix does not want to die, the doctor will not help.
Once again, the doctor rocks and rules, and I give him my, thumbs up and my rock horns to the doctor.
Well, it's also interesting that the hologram is the one with the biggest heart on the ship.
Right?
Well, I guess he was programmed with an emotional, response to look after patients, right?
I'm a doctor, not an executioner.
He's a caring individual.
So Janeway has to perform the procedure.
Of course. Well, it makes sense, Janeway. I never liked Janeway as a character anyway. I always thought she was a bit cold, really.
There we go. Welcome back.
Well, oh my. I say half welcome back. The other half could just go away.
Oh.
I think you know which half I'm talking about.
The top half.
The Neelix half. Sorry. I'm be quiet.
See, there you go. You get a little emotion from Janeway there with the regret on what she has just performed against the advice of her chief medical officer. So.
Yeah, so at least we do get a haunted look from her at the end.
Does she even reunite with Tuvok?
Does she reunite with Tuvok?
Well, does she say anything to Tuvok once?
No, I don't know.
And aren't they like best friends?
Yeah, they are.
And she just sort of feels bad about killing.
Mm-hmm. There is a point where when she's talking about to Kes that she's reading his reports and she's admiring his words. And how she can hear his voice when she's reading it, and she says some positive things about Tuvok because she misses her friend. That's how they address it in the middle of the episode.
And it's interesting you said earlier in terms of they still hadn't gone to the trouble of a memorial for Neelix and Tuvok because Tuvix is there. But wouldn't it just be? It would be a situation where you would never be able to accept the loss of your friend or partner. Because you have a constant reminder, like a walking tombstone of two people that comes up and says, hello, would you like some coffee? It's like being haunted by your like old friend or old two friends.
That would be very weird.
Like you'd never be able to have that moment of catharsis where it's like giving. Closure. There's no closure.
just think in the sense of kisses, it would be like hello, and it would be a hell of a lot more than coffee he was offering, right?
Well,
So that
speaking
would
of
be
consent,
really crazy. That would be really, really difficult, though. Yeah, I agree. To be serious.
so
Yeah, it's probably best that they went back to the way it was before.
oh wow,
Not that I
it hurt.
agree with killing Tuvix, but yeah, I guess it had to be what it had to be, right?
Captain Time Lord asks, how do you extract salt from the water now? Evaporation?
Well, they have technology, I believe, in some of the countries that do that to have their fresh water. They know how to extract the salt.
Desalination.
Yeah, that's what it is. Not
That's the
evaporation.
word I was thinking
Desalination.
of that my brain didn't
Yeah,
remember.
my brain didn't work either. It's all good.
My brain often doesn't work, but you guys have probably noticed that in the live streams by now.
Brain and brain. What is brain?
What is brain?
Stephen Ransom is having a problem with his brain too. He says it hurts my brain to see how much magic they've shoehorned into my sci-fi.
Yeah, there's a lot of magic in sci-fi, it seems.
And Captain Time Lord says, I think the name of the episode should have been Bullocks.
Well, separating two bollocks isn't hard.
Well, bollocks is an English word which isn't too polite.
It means nuts.
Yes, I know.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to say it, but that's what came to mind. Well, I remember the Sex Pistols' great album from 1977, Never Mind the Bollocks. That was an awesome album.
And Stephen Ransom wants to rename the episode. The title should be Tuvix Slip. And Megacropper says he's trying to mind meld her.
That's an interesting observation. When you showed Tuvix sort of stroking Kess's cheek, could he do a mind meld?
He probably could have. Of course, I wouldn't assume that every species Vulcans are able to mind meld with. There could be some species that they could not. So maybe she was one of those.
Could be. Kind of like how betazoids can't read Ferengi.
Exactly. It could be a species thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And hello in the chat to Kronos.
Ahoy, Kronos.
Yeah.
Mind melding would be so weird, though. Can you imagine if you could actually mind meld with people? Like, I don't know if I'd want to do that. That could be very scary, actually, because you never know what you'd be, discovering, right?
That's why, unless there's no other option of communication, mind meld is usually a thing that's consented on, unless that's the only way to talk to someone.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have consent, of course. I mean,
usually, but not always.
Well, I prefer consent. So
Herc 130 says, "Uh-oh, what's that sound?"
Nope. I got it. I know what it is. It's my fault. I fixed it.
Okay, good. Herc 130 says Vulcans will always call you back after the first date. It is the logical thing to do.
Actually, I've had a few first dates where I would not want to call them back for a second one. So
yeah, but if you went on a date with Dr. Solar, I would want her to call me back.
Yeah, well, I've been on a few introductory first dates that didn't pan out to be much. So logically, I would not go on a second one with somebody who wasn't interested.
That's why I only date every 7 years.
Well, I don't have that much time left, so if I date every 7 years, I'll probably only get to date 2 or 3 more times. So, so I am not interested in Vulcan Pond Far.
Oh, that's all I think about.
And Son of a Red Shirt says, to me, to Anti-Derivative Jill and all the super cool Trekkies, here, hola, kapla, and cheers. On my way home, saw you two on, and wanted to comment and leave a like. Your poll was too binary for me. Tuvix has a right to fight for life.
Wow. All right, let's see. Where's the?
I know. I realized after I made the poll and people started putting in comments that I did make it too binary.
Thank you, Son of a Red Shirt. That's a really cool comment.
Mm-hmm. And Mega Cropper wants to talk about a Deep Space Nine episode next Friday.
Well, we'll be talking about more of them on Saturday.
Right? Yeah. So if you want more Deep Space Nine, please subscribe to Clyburn Times if you haven't already, and join us at 9 p.m. Central for Saturday Night Star Trek.
Yeah, there'll be 4 more on Saturday, and I got a feeling, Jill. I just was looking. I'm looking forward to watching them with you on Saturday if you're going to be on, hopefully.
Yes, I'm going to be sharing them.
Awesome.
I'll share a link to my watch party on Twitter. I don't do it through YouTube. Yes.
Awesome. I will be there. And yeah, I was just looking, I went on Wikipedia and just read the synopsis for the episodes of the 4 coming up this weekend. And there's a couple that I think might get the Club Oni going.
I think
have
so
a feeling.
Too. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
What are the 4?
I think, well, out of the 4, it looked like 2 of them were kind of like stinkers.
So which 4 are being covered?
Oh, geez, I don't remember the 4.
I'll check.
Maybe Joe can remember offhand. I'd have to look it up. But we're into like about 8 episodes in now or something?
Yeah, I guess we'd start at episode 9.
I could actually look it up. Give me a second.
Okay, yeah, I forgot, so you'll have to help me with that.
I'll just take a quick look on Wikipedia, guys, and I'll let you know in a minute here.
Okay, cool. Son of a Red Shirt says, just like Janeway and crew members have a right to fight for the lives of 2 of their own, not one of my favorite episodes, made my brain hurt. That's fair.
Made my heart ache.
Mega Cropper says, and not the tribbles?
No tribbles. Oh, wait. Is he referring to our animated review on Monday when we do More Tribbles, More Troubles?
Right. We're going to be talking about the animated sequel to The Trouble with Tribbles on Monday on Pop Culture Curators channel. That should be a lot of fun. And Stephen Ransom says, bear with this barium talk. It's magic. Son of a Red Shirt says, to be fair though, comparing the half-human Vulcan like Spock to a half-Talaxian Vulcan like Tuvok isn't quite the same. Who knows how strong Talaxian genes are. Also, Cybok proves Vulcans can emote. Well, of course, Vulcans have way stronger emotions than we do.
That's why they control them, because if they... Well, remember, was there a mention in the original series that Spock said that Vulcan went through their primitive early colonization phase where they almost destroyed themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I remember that quote somewhere Spock said.
That's
I can't remember what episode it was in, but it was like, we learn to control our emotions in order to survive as a race, right?
Correct.
Well, and it's a common misconception that Vulcans don't have emotions, but they do. They're very, very strong.
Well, they perpetuate that myth themselves. They say, well, I'm not capable of that emotion, but they are. They are.
Well, you got to admit, it is a bit of an advantage if you don't have emotions to, deal with other races. It's like gives you like that foot up, so to speak, right? Because other races are mostly going to be thinking somewhat emotionally, and if you're thinking totally logically, you can probably work out, the best deal for yourself, so to speak. Anyway, I just looked up the Deep Space Nine episodes coming up this weekend. If anybody wants to hear them.
Oh, I do.
It looks like, well, we finished off last week with Necessary Evil, where Odo was shot, and we had the whole intrigue with oh God, my brain. What's her name?
Kira?
Kira, yes. Jeez. Man, I'm not 100% today. Anyway, it looks like this week's 4 episodes will be Second Sight, Sanctuary, Rivals, and the alternate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Okay.
probably a couple of those are probably among the more mediocre episodes of Deep Space Nine from what I read in the synopsis. So
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
too
sure.
sure, so we're gonna watch them tomorrow and find out.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think the Claboni's going to get a bit of a workout tomorrow night,
We'll see.
which will be fun. Hopefully, there'll be some really annoying Keiko moments, and we'll get to see the
Oh no,
Claboni.
no, I don't really like that new Claboni that Mark Ducey made. That's a combination of the crap and the Alamarine.
You don't
And
like that?
oh,
I think it's
Miles.
funny. I
Am
think
I the only person who likes Keiko?
Raquel's
No, no,
Keiko
there are quite a
is
few
so
guys
funny.
who like Keiko, but no women like
No, I
her.
hate Keiko, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think
Why?
Raquel's version of her is
Mhm.
hilarious.
We don't like her because she yells at her husband in public and
she's
tries
not
to
she's
embarrass
not nice.
him, and she's just she's not nice.
I do think that the
We don't
Claboni
think she's
version
good
was
to
hilarious, though.
O'Brien.
I think
Well, maybe they'll
Miles
just
needs
use
a
the
strong
regular.
woman.
I think Miles is quite capable without a strong woman necessarily. He definitely doesn't need a browbeating woman like Keiko can be. I mean, let's face it. There's strong, and then there's a pain in
Keiko.
the ass. Nothing wrong with a strong woman. I'm saying it's just like Keiko's a bit annoying.
Oh, I can understand that she's a bit annoying, but I do enjoy
Yes.
their marriage.
She's a
And
good actress, though. I mean, I do agree. What's been said that she's an excellent actress. It's just the way the character's written, right?
Right. Stephen Ransom says, so it's the memories that made him a person. We are mnemonic. So, yeah. So, memories made. Because Tuvix had the memories. Oh, there's private chat.
Ignore the peasants. Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
I didn't realize there are that many peasants in the chat today. There's 11 watching right now. So
Okay,
did you
so
get
but
a
I
super?
don't get super chats.
I don't
So
see any super chats
so
looking at
every
the
chat is a
chat
super
here.
chat until I get super chats. But he won't stop existing, says Stephen Ransom. Both persons will live on, all their memories. Everyone learned from the moments. That's true too.
That's interesting. Actually, come to think of it, guys, like would both separate entities remember the 2 weeks or whatever that they were combined into Tuvix?
I don't know if that's addressed. I don't remember if Tuvok and Neelix remember Tuvix.
Well, they probably didn't address it in the series, but it just popped into my head like, wow, if I was merged with another personality in my brain for like 2 weeks, I would think having all those shared memories would probably remain for in my mind, at least for some time to follow.
I think so too. But we'll never know. Son of a
Yeah,
Red Shirt
true.
says, I came in late, but did anybody mention the parallels between this episode and the Enterprise episode where they clone a copy of Trip to remove his nervous system or something? Because original Trip wouldn't live. Actually, I'm going to ask Scotty that question to see if he knows, because I don't remember a lot of Enterprise.
That is a true story with Trip, and they do clone. They do clone Trip to get organs or something, but it's more of a degenerative situation with that Trip. I forget what they name him, but his body is breaking down, and he tries to fight for life, but he's going to die anyway, if I remember correctly. And so it's like, well, we're doing this for original Trip, and you're not going to live anyway. So unfortunately, we do have to sacrifice you. And there is more of a coming to terms with the loss of second Trip.
Wow.
Because he does.
Using cloning to harvest organs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that Dr. Phlox.
Yeah, that's something.
But it's an interesting episode, but it does, and it's also because Enterprise is a prequel, it's one of those sort of moral conundrums that happen early on in the history of Starfleet, and so it's the first time they're actually dealing with it, boldly going, if you will, where no man has gone before.
Yeah, I must admit I haven't seen a lot of Enterprise. I think I watched season 1 and then I kind of dropped off after that point. I
Oh
guess
man, it gets so much better.
It started to become more serialized in season 2, didn't it, Scotty?
With the Xindi War, yeah.
Yeah, the Xindi War. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I've never actually gotten around to watching those
Oh, it's
last 3
so cool.
seasons, so I really, really need to. Damn, I've got well, Jill's got a watch list probably 1,000 miles long. Mine maybe is 500, but I've still got a watch list that's too long for sure. Yeah, it sounds like it got really good in the last 3 seasons, didn't it?
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
and even just little things like the subspecies of the Xindis, because there's an avian and there's an aquatic and a reptilian and a mammalian. But the aquatic Xindi, they have these ships, and obviously, as you would assume from the name aquatic, they're full of water. And so when there is a giant space battle, as you do, they blow up one of the aquatic ships, and it shows zero gravity, like water bubbles floating off into space. It's so awesome. It is dope.
That sounds really cool. Yeah, I really need to watch that one of these days. I never got around to watching the last 3 seasons.
Well, it's when when the new Star Trek started coming out, and my dad was the one who introduced me to Star Trek. He started watching it, and he was like, "What is this BS?" And so I was like, well, if you'd like to see some Star Trek that you've never seen before, and he's like, it's not going to, he doesn't like Next Generation either. He's a hardcore original series or nothing.
I can respect that.
And so he won't watch Next Generation. He didn't watch Deep Space Nine, didn't even care. I don't even think he knows that Voyager exists. But I was like, well, if you want to watch Enterprise, you'd probably like it. And he's like, why? And I was like, well, because it takes place before Kirk, and it's got Scott Bakula. And he's like, who's Scott Bakula? So I buy him the season set on DVD.
And in some of those later seasons, like you're talking about, they go back to science fiction ideas like TOS did.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he just finally decided to watch something of Trek.
Oh, and he plowed through. He plowed through all of Enterprise in like a week, and he was like, you know what? That's really good.
Yeah. Man. You should get him to watch DS9, though. That's a really great series.
I don't think he'd make it past Up the Long Ladder.
Well, no,
not Up the Long Ladder.
That's from Next Generation.
What? Oh, Move Along Home. Sorry, same cadence in the title.
Well, just skip that one.
Yeah, just skip that one. Just show him the best. Start him on like season 3 or something.
Well, no, you do need the pilot.
Well, show him the best episodes of season 1 and 2 where they're character building. Establishing.
Yes, especially Jem'Hadar at the end of season 2. And I want to get through some of these chats. Stephen Ransom says, what color is their blood? So he wants to know what color Tuvix's blood is.
Fuchsia.
And you know what? I was thinking purple. Wow. That's incredible. Okay, so then he says, good grief, the transporter invented a metabolism from scratch. Another thing unaddressed. And
absolutely. How does he poop?
Oh, and hello in the chat to Anonymous.
Anonymous! Thank you for recognizing my Goonies reference.
So then Son of the Red Shirt says, at the end of the day, the math does speak for itself. You got 2 crewmen for the price of 1. So what's more salient or important? 2 groups survival, manpower, or provision rationing?
Oh, I never even thought about the provision rationing. You'd be able to have more coffee if you only had 1 crewman.
Mm-hmm. True. Stephen Ransom says, Tuvix is insisting on killing them. His pleas are cowardly and selfish. Those 2 men have friends and family. And Son of a Red Shirt says, sure, it's the ultimate betrayal. Tuvix has never known anyone in his life. He may remember people from Tuvok and Neelix's past, but the Voyager crew are the only family he's ever known. And Matchy gives us a link to Doomcock's channel, and so we like to support the smaller creators out there, so make sure to subscribe to Doomcock. No, I know. Yeah, so he has a really great Friday Night Frolics show, and where he sings and he tells stories, and he talks with the chat. So even though he's a really big channel, he takes the time to pick out comments from the regular chat to talk to. even though he could just read super chats. So that's pretty special of him. And he cares when things happen to people in the chat. Kronos is here, and he says stuff. He says,
much communication, such talking.
Kronos also says, I feel bad for Tuvix, but like the Vulcans say, the good of the many. Yes. And James Caserta is 2 hours late, but he's here now. Glad to see you here.
Like pregnant?
Yeah, he's 2 hours late from being pregnant.
Kronos, yes, DS9 is awesome.
Yeah, I love DS9. It's
Usually-
my second favorite.
Usually you don't know 2 hours. It's usually like, oh, I'm 2 weeks late. And then, you're probably pregnant.
I've never been late myself, so.
Yeah, well, I as a guy, I wouldn't know about such things.
Okay. James Caserta says, well, that's why I need tiger stripes.
There you go.
Tiger
Tuvix should have-
stripes. Yeah.
Tuvix should have won
on today.
I know, right? But in the future, in December, I'm working on it, but we're probably going to be talking about Lord of the Rings on Wednesday evenings.
Oh my god.
Wednesday evenings? What about Uncle?
But before that.
Oh, okay. By the way, Jill, I just want to mention, I will talk to my boss next week, if I haven't mentioned this already earlier in the stream, and see if I can get off work an hour earlier.
That would be great.
If we could watch 2, that would be much better than 1.
Yeah, right. You want to get through it quicker. I get it.
Well, the thing is, too, you saw the first episode, but Ilya Kuryakin, the Russian partner of Napoleon, was not in that episode very much, just a little bit at the start, if you noticed. And I don't think he's in much of the second episode either. He starts to become more of a main character in episode 3, I believe.
Okay.
And he really does become a really excellent character. Actually, interestingly, he actually became, it's like Spock, right? Next to Kirk, the secondary character became the fan favorite because he was kind of younger and cuter, I guess. And it's like the ladies started to write in the fan letters to the network about how much they wanted to see more Ilya. So I guess they did up his screen time. And yeah, he's a great character, though. Anyway.
Okay.
I will be quiet now. I'm talking too much once again.
So James Caserta says he should have forced Janeway to separate him. Kronos says, anyone think that Threshold was good? No. Nobody. Nobody ever. James Caserta says a human is a warp 10 god. I have no idea what that means.
It's the super evolution that happens in Threshold. When we discuss our warp.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I try to forget Threshold. That's my problem.
You're jumping feet first into Tuvix.
Yeah.
All
you asked me to. This was your idea.
This was my idea, but this was also to get away from having to watch Lower Decks episodes 1 and 2, and at this point it would be 3 as well.
Right. So when we do talk about it, it'll probably just be a season review.
Yeah, it'll be a 5-minute stream. We watched Lower Decks. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I got
Problems
zero interest
happen.
in Lower Decks, actually. So.
Although Bird of Prey likes it, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, I might binge it some day a year from now, but yeah, right now, like, no interest. I don't want to support any of the the fake Trek stuff, because it's like, if you watch it, you're giving it a thumbs up, right? So.
Keiko.
Okay. Keiko.
The cake is a lie. There will be
is a
cake.
lie.
You said it way better. That sounded exactly like it. Sorry, I got really excited there.
Cake is nice, but Keiko isn't.
I love that game.
Portal, yeah, it's great.
Portal. Portal's a wonderful game. It's lots of fun.
Wow.
Full of logic puzzles.
Yes. We are who we eat. Pass the cake,
We are who we eat. I have nobody to eat at the moment, sadly.
Oh, my stars.
Enterprise was
well,
good.
I didn't put the comment in the chat. I was just responding. The clown?
I don't know.
What?
Kodo the clown killed it all.
I have no idea who Koto the clown is.
Too
Not
dark, too many bumpy heads, and disfigured aliens. They beamed the babies and...
They beamed the babies and poop out of you.
Oh,
That is
actually,
awesome.
that was a Voyager episode. There was a baby who had to be born by transporter.
Oh, my.
Wasn't it Naomi?
Oh, it could be.
Wilder?
Wow. I never saw that one either. I guess
Well, and then
I guess having babies beamed out in birth would be far more convenient, I would imagine, Jill.
Yeah. Yes.
It would save all that painful labor, right?
well,
Right.
and then you've got the just to sort of jump into other weird medical techniques, like you can beam out a baby, but also doesn't Neelix at one point get holographic lungs?
Holographic lung?
Right. Yeah, he's in he's like in an iron lung, except it's holographic. So yeah.
Wow. That sounds like another one I probably missed. Jeez, I haven't watched much of Voyager at all.
James Caserta is pregnant.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well, good luck. Good luck. Hope everything goes well.
And Stephen Ransom says, speaking of small channels, PJ Maybe will be on Mr. Brown's Alliance talking about Dread 2012 in about 2 hours. Great.
Awesome. You should check it out. It's one of my favorite action movies and one of my favorite channels. So definitely.
When did Tom Paris get the knowledge to build a Warp 10 shuttlecraft?
A Warp 10 shuttlecraft?
The Delta Flyer. It's retrofitted. And I think,
That's
anyway.
Inconceivable.
Oh, and Bird of Prey 5 only liked the first episode of Lower Decks, not the other 2. Are there 2 out or 3 out?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I think there's 3 out now. And I didn't mean to put words in your mouth, Bird of Prey. Sorry about that.
That's unreal.
Yeah, he hasn't given comments yet on the other
I didn't
2.
think a starship could go past about Warp 8 without starting to feel the strain. I mean, a shuttlecraft going to Warp 10? Really?
Oh, yeah. And you know what happens to the pilot?
They turn into jello?
Nope, they turn into a salamander.
Okay,
a giant salamander. Because that's the next step of evolution of humanity, is to be a giant salamander. And anyway, so that happens to Tom Paris. Anyway, we'll cover this on the Warp Engines.
Oh, man.
The Warp episode.
So that takes care of...
I look forward to when we get to Voyager, because I have seen so little of it. It'll all be new to me.
And so we were supposed to talk about other transporter accidents and magic. And if you have something quick about it, we can talk about it for a little bit.
Well, my favorite one, Jill, is in the first film, Star Trek: The Motion Picture, when they beam those, I think it's 2 poor people up, and they totally get disintegrated in the transporter.
And so that's an accident.
That was bloody awful. I still remember that scene. I saw it in the theater way back when.
Yeah, they don't even show you what happened. They just you don't want to see what came up.
Yeah, it was so gross. It still is disturbing when I think about it. That was a really horrific scene. That's my one scene I remember.
And I do appreciate in Star Trek: The Motion Picture, it's like what we got back here didn't live long, fortunately.
Exactly.
That haunted me forever. And that
still haunts me. It's like, that's a horrific sequence. I mean, something I don't think about very often, except obviously when we're talking about it in the stream.
But as mentioned before, you have second chances, which is the separation of Will and Thomas due to atmospheric problems and an away mission before he joined the Enterprise.
Yeah, so he was on that planet for a while, Thomas, right?
Mm-hmm. Like 8-9 years, I think. And it's cool because when he comes back, he is wearing like the season 1 uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so it is canonical. And Thomas Riker goes on to steal the Defiant and almost start a war with Cardassia. So good for him.
Yeah. Because he was with the Maquis, and he wanted to I don't know. He wanted to do some things.
But I don't think that's closer in line to actual science fiction in terms of the established technology of the transporter and how it made a duplicate, because there was an reflection of half of the pattern. Actually, you know what? It doesn't make sense. Never mind. It is magic.
I just got to mention my absolute
There you
favorite.
go.
My favorite one is
Go
the
ahead.
original series, the
The
one with
Enemy Within.
the enemy within the two Kirks. I mean, that is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
so good.
right, and we'll be reviewing that on Tuesday.
Oh,
On
okay.
Tuesday.
I guess I should probably shut
Yeah.
up then.
Well, no,
not give
that's fine. No,
spoilers.
you can talk about it. You can
Oh,
talk
okay.
about it briefly if you just want to talk about the transporter aspect of it.
Yeah, I just thought that it was interesting. They had the two Kirks, and obviously, there was the good and the bad. The thing is, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really a good and an evil Kirk. It was just like we all have those sides in our personality. We have our positive sides, and we have some negative sides. And you know, it's like Kirk, separated. Obviously, he needed his negative side to be an efficient commander, right?
Right.
Because his nice side, so to speak, was so nice. Even Kirk began to realize halfway through the episode that he could not
He
really
wasn't an effective commander
he
anymore.
couldn't command. There was that scene where he said, "Help me." Was it to Spock and McCoy? "Help me." That
Yeah.
he just realized he couldn't function on the bridge anymore. And I thought that was one of the greatest scenes actually in the whole original series. It was so powerful when Kirk realized he was, basically weakened without his dark side, so to speak, which was the side that gave him the strength, the
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need
necessary
your
strength.
positive and your negative sides
Yeah, he had to
to
have that
balance.
tough negative side to function as a commander to make those difficult decisions. Like when he had to send people, like for instance, to die sometimes, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so he had to have that really tough, you know, serious, dark side to his personality. And that's one reason I really always loved that episode. Yeah, it's a great episode. Anyway,
I agree.
that's about it.
Can't wait.
Well, and then after that, there's obviously everyone's favorite episode with Ensign Rowe in it, Rascals, where
Yeah,
everybody turns
Oh,
into their younger self versions
that's
for
a
some
good one.
reason.
Yeah. I mean, the science is completely bogus. They don't even consider Picard's heart, his artificial heart.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, everybody forgets about that heart.
I love Rascals though. It was fun to see those young actors
Well, the actors are
portraying.
good. That's true.
Yeah, the actors were great. I mean, I thought it was kind of hilarious that they were all portraying, characters we knew very well, but in a younger,
But it
setting.
required the silliness of Ferengi taking over the Enterprise again,
Well,
using an old bird of prey.
it was kind of a silly, lighthearted episode overall, though. I thought
Hmm.
so.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode.
yeah, I did think the kids working together, the teamwork was cute.
Yeah, it was really, really sweet. I really enjoyed it. I thought, well, damn good that they gave all these young actors a break and got them, into the into the episode and gave them a chance to act. And maybe they went. I don't know if they went on and had careers after that, but it was a fun episode.
It was, and then you have all the shenanigans that happen with the mirror universe in terms of transporting over into a parallel universe because everyone was getting on the transporter at the exact same time in the exact same place to transport over, and that happens in the original series and Deep Space Nine. If you want to interdimensionally travel, I guess
Yeah,
you can.
what season was the Mirror Universe in Deep Space Nine?
Yeah,
Throughout.
it just requires precise coordination.
Mm-hmm. But throughout, I think Mirror Darkly or Shattered Mirror is in season 1, and then they come back to it in season 3, and it basically just peters out. There's
It
no
does.
real resolution.
I did like the first one though.
I like the first
Season
two.
one? No, it
Yep.
couldn't have been season one because we've gone through season one of DS9.
I thought either 1 or 2. Then I could be mistaken.
Right. So it wasn't season
Season
1 for
two, then
sure.
maybe.
Probably.
Yeah, because we haven't got to it yet
I'm
on
not
Saturday
sure.
Night Track, I don't think.
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
We'll look it up on
And
Wikipedia, I guess.
what else do we have when it comes to transporters?
There's unnatural selection with Pulaski.
Oh, right. Because
jeez.
which is sort of the same thing as the Lorelei signal in terms of being able to resequence from a previous pattern.
Yeah, after having aged.
Which is, again, just sort of the magical transporter reset.
Yeah, I think it was about these genetically modified kids.
Yeah, transporter is pretty much magic, isn't it?
Well, it's again, it's just sort of one of the conceits.
Well, I mean, Roddenberry invented it because he didn't want to have a spaceship landing on the planet every week, right?
Yeah, well, they couldn't afford it.
Exactly. It was like a cost-cutting thing. And you know what? The amazing thing about TOS is so many of the things they had to do because the budget actually worked in their favor. Because let's face it, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid seeing it, even on a black and white TV, the very first episode I watched, and they beamed down to the planet, and that awesomely cool sparkling effect when they beamed, the transporter beam when they materialize. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's pretty
like,
great.
man, I was sold. It's like, yes, I'm going to watch this show forever.
And now this live stream has gone full circle. You get transported, or the same person on the other side? I think our answer is yes. And but you'll need to listen to the beginning of the live stream to find out why. James Caserta says, filtering them out and making you young again. The cure for cancer and the fountain of youth. Yeah, exactly. That's the main problem with the transporter is if you use it in this magical way where you can just
Yeah, I think this was
cure
discussed on
disease
another
and
live stream. Was it on Claudia's
aging.
channel? Maybe we mentioned this.
Well, it was also on the Lorelei signal, animated.
Oh,
series.
right, your animated
Yeah.
one. Okay, I watched. Yeah, I watched some of that actually. I didn't
Yeah,
get around to
because
watching it all, but yeah, it's like the magical cure for everything, right?
well, for me, if the transporter can recall how to put together a previous pattern, but without actual matching physical copy or matching physical matter in the buffer, how can it put it together?
Well, the thing is, Jill, if we actually had something like transporter technology in the real world, wouldn't everybody, when they were like maybe 15, 16, 18, whatever the age of consent, say 18, they would just go and get their pattern buffer, you know, done in the transporter and preserved. And then every 10 years, they could just go back and become 18 again. Physically,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not
And
mentally, but physically. We could live forever.
I think that was one of the arguments during the Lorelei signal, and just in terms of being able to hit that reset button, which is kind of, breaks things a bit.
It really does.
I think it
It's
would be awesome,
universe
but I
breaking.
mean, obviously, it's fantasy, right?
Right.
And I forget the name of the episode where Barclay suffers from transporter psychosis.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, that's
Was that
the
the one where
realm.
Barclay saw the weird, scary things when he was transporting up?
Yes, it's called the realm of fear.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was a good one. I love that episode. Barclay was an awesome character.
He was.
They should have had him in more episodes, actually.
And Scotty in Relics, yep, he stored his transporter pattern in the buffer for about 70 or 80 years, I think.
Relics was such a great... that was probably my favorite. My top 10 episodes for sure of TNG. Probably in the top 5.
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
great. I love that
It was so
episode
nice
too.
seeing Jimmy Doohan just back on the bridge of the original Enterprise again. Oh,
Yeah, I cry every time.
I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about it. I better stop.
Yeah, I gave that episode on Saturday Night Star Trek A+++.
Oh, it's a perfect episode. Scotty, the TOS bridge. I mean, you can't go wrong there.
Yeah, and Geordi was impressed with how Scotty was able to keep that pattern together and running for the transporter. But my favorite part is that Scotty counters that it was only 50% brilliant because they lost Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin deserved better.
Poor Franklin. Still, we had to have Scotty back, so.
Right.
Oh, I miss Jimmy Doohan. You realize I probably mentioned this before, but he's a BC boy, born in Vancouver, which is like a 5-hour drive away from where I am.
And as the answer to the question, Scotty lived in a transporter buffer for 75 years.
Nice.
Scotty was a very smart guy when it came to transporters, so he knew how to do that.
And Gorilla's Random Thought says, you guys keep naming episodes I have defended because the transporter episodes are the episodes that have lots of problems. And that's why you need to defend them, because they're kind of wacky sometimes.
Actually, coming to think of it, Jill, that would make a great stream subject. Controversial episodes of TOS. Episodes that divide. I know there are episodes that divide the fans. Like I just watched the what's it called? Forgetting the channel that I did mention before. The target audience. That's the channel I mentioned before. I think some months ago, or whenever.
Right.
They just did their review of Friday's Child yesterday, and they were not a big fan of it. They enjoyed some aspects of it, but they overall thought it was kind of a strange episode. So it's like those kind of episodes,
Oops. Oh, that means I gotta end my show pretty soon.
Okay, I'll wrap it up quick. Those kind of episodes will be an interesting stream. The episodes that folks either love or hate, kind of thing. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. And Kronos says Barkley was just scared of the transporter. Yes, he had a very McCoy-like fear of the transporter, and he overcomes it during this episode. It's really cool.
And Hoshi gets stuck in a transporter. I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah? Oh, neat. And so that's all
Scott
we have
Vix?
time for today. Scott Vix.
Okay.
Yeah, no, thanks. I'm done with Tuvix, and I'm done with transporter mergings. Let's not do that anymore.
Let's not do that anymore.
Yeah, I think we pretty much exhausted the whole topic of transporters today for a while.
Yeah, I didn't remember the one about Hoshi getting trapped.
I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, so I've seen all of them, but I don't remember all of them. I was in college.
So what's
Fair
next week's stream?
I don't know. I have no idea what we're doing next week.
Okay, something not about transporters, I'm guessing.
Probably not, since we did it today.
We usually figure it out.
How about
between TAS and TOS?
How about all the alien ladies that Kirk romanced through the original TOS series?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna think about it, and I'll let you know later.
I'm just being a bit facetious there, but it would make a great stream though, because Kirk was quite the ladies' man.
Like, who was David's mom? I don't even remember.
Carol Marcus.
Oh, Carol.
Oh, thank you.
Carol, yes. That was actually cool to find out that Kirk actually had a serious relationship and a son. That was pretty damn awesome, really.
Well, so I'd like to continue this live stream for another 3 hours, but I have things that I got to do. So I would like for everybody to plug the things that they'd like to plug. So,
Well, if you'd like to,
go ahead, Joe.
Or did you want to go first, Jill? I'm sorry, I was gonna.
No, I don't. I don't need to go. Well, no, because my next things are going to be just the animated series. More troubles on Monday, and The Enemy Within on my channel on Tuesday, and on Monday the animated series will be on Pop Culture Curators channel, and on Tuesday The Enemy Within will be on my channel,
and then on Wednesday. Oh, sorry, you keep going.
Oh, wait.
I was going to do chronologically during the week. Sorry.
Right. Okay, but then I'll let you talk about your channel, because then you could you could talk about your Wednesday and your Thursday.
Yeah, because on Wednesday we're going to we rescheduled our Django Unchained conversation from last week, so that's going to be coming up next Wednesday, and then on the Thursday, we are going to finally get into our Quantum Leap retrospective on the Phantasmagorium with Antiderivative Jill, and Steve usually pops in, and yeah, we'll be talking about everyone's favorite time traveler.
Yes, and his leaps
And
to
his
set
leaps.
right what once went wrong.
Yes.
And I know you don't really make content or anything, but if you have anything you'd like to share, let me know.
I really need to get some kind of camera to film stuff one of these days, but
Yeah.
I have updated my playlist though. I just added a new series I'm going to start called Awesome Albums You Probably Never Heard. And the first one I have entered is The Shoes, the band name, and their album is called Present Tense. And I have put all 12 songs on the playlist I have created for them. So if you want to type it in, you could just type number. I just put it as 1-awesome albums you probably never heard. And that should probably take you to it if you want to search in YouTube. And yeah, if you guys have never heard this album, it's pretty damned awesome. It's basically classified as rock and power pop, if you are familiar with the power pop term. And yeah, it's like great harmonies from the singers, great guitars, and damn, the songs, 12 songs, they're all just so catchy. They're just full of hooks. So I think you'll enjoy it.
Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and close my poll here. The question was, does Tuvix have a right to live over Neelix and Tuvok? That's, of course, it's a it's an obvious question.
Looks like a resounding no.
Yeah, so I'm going to end the poll with 25 votes, 72% say no, but a surprising 28 say yes.
Our deepest sympathies to your loss of Tuvix. We're sorry.
Well, yeah. Anytime we talk about life and death, it's bound to get divided thoughts, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, it would have been a really short stream if we all just agreed.
True.
Yeah, that's true. Good stream,
anyway,
though, Jill. Good topic.
Thank you, Jill.
Yes, yes,
very
you're
good
welcome.
Topic.
And I just want to thank some of the people in the chat for being here. Thank you, Stephen Ransom, Kronos, Anonymous, James Caserta, and Herc130. And who else was here today? Sci-Fi Nation was still listening, so that's great. And then we also had Bird of Prey 5. Oh, and Bird of Prey 5 is going to be doing a bed life today if things are the same as they are every week. So after this, in just a few minutes, he's going to have a live stream of his own. So check his out.
And I'm totally impressed how you guys time this stuff.
It's by total accident. Because I have responsibilities, I get to tell everybody to go to Bird of Prey 5's channel.
Yeah, you got the family stuff. I understand.
And then there's Matt G.
But man, you know the one problem I have, guys, with YouTube, there are too many streams and so little time.
Right. And then we had Son of a Red Shirt today. That was great.
Captain Time Lord and Todd Michael.
Yeah, Captain Time Lord is up here. So see, I'm just scrolling back up.
There's no, fair enough. Mega Cropper.
And Gorilla's Random Thoughts. I'm glad you said Todd Michael because I don't see him. I must have skipped over whatever chat was there, but I do remember him being here. That was he had good comments too, very quality. Oh, there he is.
Alpha
and so did everybody. I have a really great chat that enriches the discussion every time. We were in chat too. Pleasant Valley Picker. But we did not have Scotty in the chat. Okay. Oh, and hello to JPRPH1. He said, great stream. I was working but listening. Thanks, everyone. Oh, thank you. Thank you everybody for joining us today. I'll be going now. Have a fantastic Friday and a fantastic weekend. I will see you next time.
Jolan True.
Thank you, Jill. Awesome.
You're welcome.
As always. Always love to join in the panel on your live streams.
Yes, thank you. And I will be playing my friend Raquel's promo for her books, because her books are her book of short stories, which is available on Amazon in short story form. Each short story is like 99 cents. And it's great.
Thanks again, Jill.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yay. Till next time.
Until next time. We're going to have more fun later.
We will see you on Saturday Night Trek.
Yes. Or Friday Night Frolics tonight. If you want to know where I am, I will be in the chat the whole night probably.
I'll probably pop on the Frolics later myself.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Get down from there. Get down from there, right now. Go. You get down from my porch, right now. Go. What do you think you're doing on my porch? You get down. Go. How dare you? Go.
Captain's log, stardate 1672.9. Due to the malfunction of the ship's transporter, an unexplained duplicate of myself exists.
What can I do for you, Jim?
I said give me the brandy!
Come on, Spark, I know that look. What is it?
Well, our good doctor said that you were acting like a wild man.
Oh, Captain. You started hurting me. I had to fight you. Fisher saw you too.
It wasn't me.
It was you, sir. I tell you, Kirk!